all have results to reference, right?
I will in a minute.
Aaron's working on it. So first of all, let's just start with talking about the fact that we're talking about personality profiling, DISC profiling. Has anybody heard of this before?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Have we completed it before?
Yes.
All right. So not completely new to us. What's the purpose of it? Why are we doing it?
Find our strengths
To find our strengths. Okay.
and weaknesses, I guess.
And weaknesses. Okay. What are you going to do with that once you find it?
You can use it to kind of assess what you need to work on and what fields you can excel in.
Okay. So to improve yourself in terms of either grow or fix or improve. Okay. What else? What else is a benefit to this?
It also helps us on how to communicate with our clients.
Absolutely. But how does it help us communicate with our clients?
By how to read them.
How to read
How
them.
to best communicate with them.
Exactly. How to understand them. So if we're struggling, and this is everyday communication, not just with our clients, but certainly that's what we're focusing on. But if we're struggling with communicating with somebody, if there's a disconnect, a challenge, a question in that communication, this is an opportunity or a tool to use that will essentially help us improve understanding that situation. By understanding it, you can back down a little bit and say, okay, why don't I understand this? And how can I adjust to make that a little bit easier? Which is what you guys just told me. So let's explore DISC and this method of using that tool to communicate. So DISC is a way to understand people's emotions by categorizing them in behavior types. Why are we focusing on emotion? What do you think?
Well, first of all, buying a home can be very emotional.
It is, right?
And our emotions play into the whole form of how we communicate.
They do. They show through in all forms of communication. It's not just the words we say, but it's how we say them. It's how we treat people. It's how we react to them, how they're treating us. It's the emotion behind the words, not just the words. You're right. And they help identify drivers of engagement. What's a driver of engagement? What do we mean when we say drivers of engagement? Exactly. It's kind of the same thing as what we were talking about in the bullet point ahead, but it's what's behind that, right? It's what motivates us. It's understanding that there's something more that we need to capture so we can communicate effectively. And that's our goal. By asking respondents to, and the format of this process, what you just did yesterday or today, is to make a choice between two or more items. And then by doing that, you identify your preferences and categorize them based on the behavior choices that they represent. That's also how we understand other people. And now that we've had a chance to do this on our own, we can explore those results and ultimately apply those to our relationships. So first, you're going to see that there are 4 different categories in DISC. Did you already identify individually what your strong categories are?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Were they pretty extreme or were you pretty level across the board? I'm just curious.
Extreme.
Extreme? Okay.
That's kind of a level.
A little bit level?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Aaron? Sorry.
Kind of extreme.
Kind of extreme. Jennifer?
I'm sorry.
I'm just wondering if your 4 areas are kind of level or if they're pretty extreme.
Oh, I was 2 pretty high.
2 are high? That's me too.
Yeah.
2 are really high for me. What about you, Jessica?
Yeah, I have a couple that are high and some that are.
Okay, yeah. You know what's interesting to me, some of you said that you've taken this test before. Were these results different this time than the last time you took it?
No.
Yes.
No? Yes?
Mhm.
How long ago was the first time you took it?
For me, probably 15 years ago.
Okay. Jason?
I think I took it sophomore year of college, then last year for an internship,
Okay.
then this year. But I was a little lazy in reading questions in the past, so.
Okay. Maybe it made a little more sense.
Yeah, well, no, I was like, I don't feel like doing this, so I just click. Now I actually did it.
Okay, all right. So I love that. I'm sorry. Jean, right? No.
Jerry.
Jared. Sorry, I couldn't read quite that far away. So I love that Jerry admitted, yeah, it's changed, and some of us will see that. And depending on the amount of time that you spend between taking tests, that your results will probably change. What would cause that to happen?
Experiences.
Experiences, you change, right? Absolutely. The first time I took it was over 10 years ago, and it was really extreme. And now what I see is mine have leveled out a little bit, and they've shifted a little bit. They're still the same in terms of which ones are the strongest and which ones are the weakest, but it's much more level compared to the extremes it used to be. So maybe you'll see that. So first, let's explore the 4 different types. First of all, you can see this in this pattern in terms of it being a grid. We'll explore this version a lot more as we go. I like to just jump into the 4 different types, and then you can tell me kind of how you see it impacting you every day as we go. So the first type is dominant or decisive D in the DISC profile. So a dominant profile or a dominant behavior means that they're probably very driven, very forceful, results-focused, big picture. This person really just wants results. They don't want the details behind the results. They just want to see you make that work. They don't want to have to do all the legwork to make it work. How many people here have a high D profile? All right. Quinn, sorry. Okay, anybody else? That's it? I do. I'm a huge D. So here's the reason, because I am very results driven. I am very focused in that respect, where I just want to see what's going to happen. I want to see the results. I don't need the details. I'm the type of person, if you bring me the details multiple times, I get sick of it. I'm not interested anymore. I get burned out by it. Would you agree with that?
I like snapshots of information.
Snapshots. And then I love to still make the decision. So now that I have the information, I'm going to make the best decision possible. Bring me new information and I'm frustrated because I have to change my decision. I have to think about it again. Once I make that decision, I'm moving on. I'm not going back. Would you agree with that? Yeah. How has that impacted your role or your career in the past?
Well, it's interesting because in like when it talks about the DISC styles and there's the adapted style and the natural style, my natural style, my D is like 99%.
Yes,
but
me
the
too.
adapted style, it goes down
Me too.
a lot more. So through the course of my career, you can't get a lot done with that type of mentality as far as just being, in order to get results, you have to take a lot of things into account, be more patient and that kind of thing. So I've definitely tried to do that more.
And I'm glad you referenced that on the report, the adaptive style. So I'll typically call that our conditioned response, just so you know if I switch language around. I think of that as a conditioned response because an adaptive style really is you adapting or conditioning yourself to, I know that I act this way, I know that this challenges me, now here's how I adjust to that to make it work productively in my career. You see what I mean? So that, I'm glad that you see that. I'm actually the same way. My natural style is super high with the DISC, with D, but my adaptive style is a little bit lower. It's not a lot lower, it's a little bit lower. Not as low as it should be, but that's okay. So what do you think a high D individual would be good at as a career?
Real estate.
You think real estate? I think it's a challenge for me in real estate, honestly. But I am good at negotiating, because I can be pretty strong-handed on it.
Leading.
What's that?
Leading.
Leading, yes. So if you're a leader of a company, maybe you're founding a company, CEO, president, absolutely. These people like to make high-pressure decisions quickly. What I don't want to do is have to come back to that. I don't want to have to research them. I want somebody else to do the research. Tell me what direction we're taking, and then I can lead. You see that difference?
Mhm.
Isn't that weird? I actually find that's great for me as a small business owner. It's really challenging because I also have to run the business, don't I? I can't just be the owner. So now I have to get into the details. That's where I need my ASCs. That's why I rely on it. What do you think could be some challenges of a high D personality?
Patience.
Patience. Tell me more about that.
Patience.
Like I've told you, we're moving on.
Yeah. No, well, I think kind of to the point that you brought up, I think sometimes having to go back or reconsider things when you need to, or the person that is stronger with that personality is doing it for a reason. You know, I mean, kind of actually figuring out the most productive ways to not come across as being impatient, because that can be
Yes.
taken very personally.
Even
It's
when you're not
meant
trying
that
to,
way,
right? Totally agree with that. That's a great way to say it. So in my personal life, this is a big challenge. In my professional life, I've conditioned myself, right? I've adapted my behavior to be a little bit more patient with my clients. But when my husband tells me something, I'm like, why are we discussing this for the third time? I just don't understand. I already told you, you do not have a budget to buy a new projector. We do not need it, we have a television. Okay, but this one is $14 cheaper than the last one I showed you. I still don't understand why we're discussing it. And then I become very hard-minded. I have to remind myself, this is important to him. I need to be a little bit more patient. And then we bond right away. And to his credit, it's beautiful and it really works well. And now my Big Brother show is 150 inches on the wall. It's amazing. It's amazing. But I'm not gonna tell him that because I'm still upset. Okay, anyway. So high D, very strong-willed, very determined, very forceful, not necessarily intending to be forceful, but just instinctively forceful. We can adapt that by turning it into a leadership role, turning it into a productive behavior. But we do have to remember, sometimes we have to work with high Ds. So if we're working with a high D as a realtor, what would that look like? Like what if our client was a high D?
I mean, if you are high D and they're a high D, I mean, you would already know how they think.
Yeah, I would know how they think, okay.
So instead of, bogging them down with the details, which, probably somebody like me would do, I could give her, okay, this is the information that you want.
Yep.
And you
Check,
don't.
check,
Yeah,
question.
and, that way she'd be like, yes, no, and,
What if you were showing Quinn a house, sorry. What if you were showing Quinn a house and she walked in and said, I don't like it? You've been there for 1 minute. You might take that a little bit offensively as a realtor, right? I just set this up, I spent time on it, I chose this to show you, and you just walked in and said, I don't like it. But in Quinn's defense, she made that decision based on her checklist, and she just didn't share that checklist maybe with you. So it's not her fault, she's not trying to be rude, she's not trying to be aggressive toward you, but at the same time, she's being honest with you and trying to be open. That's her way of doing it. Isn't that kind of weird? Does that kind of fit what you were saying? I'm sorry.
yeah, no, that's exactly it, it's just that I work with IDs, so,
Of course you do.
Yeah. So, I just, I don't ever take it personally, okay, that's your
Yeah.
decision, on to the next one.
Okay.
Good for you.
And it's been made,
Because
right?
I think that,
What's
like,
the process?
to your point, I think about that sometimes in other people, because obviously I recognize that fairly quickly. And I think they're some of the hardest people to deal with. And in real estate, when you're dealing with people all the time of every variety, I think it is a little more challenging than I was anticipating it was going to be for me personally.
That's good that you realize that. It's good to recognize it so you can adapt to it, right? I ran into, because you will get to know somebody, even your best friends, right? You might be showing houses to your best friends and they become a different person when you start looking at houses. Because now you have this client relationship and it's not friendship anymore. Now it's a little bit more serious. Now there's a little bit more pressure. Now you have to deliver on a professional level. And it does shift things. I was showing houses to a friend of mine, a couple actually, and they're really sweet, super sweet, but one of these people was just dead-faced, stone cold, really just stoic. And I thought, I didn't realize this offended her, whatever I said offended her. And I really was trying to figure out for 2 houses what was offending her. And at the end, I finally just stopped her and I said, your face tells me that you're really frustrated with this process. We just got started, so I just want to talk to you about it. And she was like, what? No, I'm fine. I liked that house, I didn't like the other one. What's wrong with you, Rob? And I was like, oh, you're a high D. Oh, now I know. Okay, now I can understand. Because I truly didn't know that person in that respect as a high D before, based on our relationship. And now that I was seeing that behavior, I can adjust to it and say, okay, you just want these details and to run with it. You don't need time to sit in the questions the way that some people do, and the way that her spouse did. So once I understood that, it only took 3 more houses and we had nothing. But I was really uncomfortable for that first day because I didn't understand it, right? And when you have that moment of uncomfortableness and you think, wow, they're really mean or really aggressive, Maybe they just have a different personality. Maybe it's just their high D coming out. So we need to adapt to that a little bit. To build on that, we have I, which is interactive or intuitive. This person is very inspiring, the life of the party, they're very engaging, they're very social, they enjoy social interactions. So they're gonna be more chatty, more involved. They're not necessarily making decisions, but they're giving you and engaging you in a discussion to make that decision. They like that structure of, I can talk to you about it and then you can. So what is a high I? First of all, do we have high I's in here? Interesting, okay, all right. And then how does that influence you guys in here every day? This whole side.
I try not to talk as much.
So you've adapted to not
Yeah.
talking as much. Okay.
And let me see what else I do. I don't know. I like talking to random people, I guess.
Okay.
And I like
Like you just walk up to someone on the street, I'm
Oh,
Jason.
yeah.
It's really nice to meet you.
Pump gas or
Really?
Yeah.
That intimidates the heck out of me. I'm a very low vibe. So that would intimidate me. If you came up and talked to me, I'd be like, what did I do? What does he want? Is he gonna work?
Try to talk to me.
Right. Is there something I'm
Yeah.
Okay. But it works for you. That gives you energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. See, for me, that depletes my energy. Eyes deplete my energy. That's interesting.
Difference between being an introvert and extrovert.
Absolutely right. It is very extroverted to be a high I, isn't it? Would you say you're a high extrovert? Yeah. And how does that influence your business?
It can be positively and negatively.
Okay.
Like Jason mentioned, I've learned to become a better listener.
So you've conditioned or adapted to yourself a little bit there. Okay.
My husband is the opposite. He is very introverted. You would never know it to
Okay.
meet him, but he gains his energy by being alone.
Yeah, me too, honestly.
And initially, we've been involved for like 5 years, and initially I kind of took it as, what did I do wrong?
He's just not a lovey-dovey person.
He is
Okay.
very affectionate, like, but he needs his alone time.
But only
And
he's
so I've
recharged.
learned to respect that.
Yeah.
And, I think all of this helps with not only business, but personal relationships too, because I have a daughter who is extremely introverted, and I'm actually reading a book right now to kind of get more into her head and how she
Really?
thinks. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. So my husband is high I as well. He doesn't know that yet. That's right. But he really is. He's very social. He's very engaging. To Jason's point, he'll walk up and talk to people pretty randomly. And he's completely comfortable in that environment. He doesn't have that almost wall built up that I do. I would be much more cautious to engage in somebody, which it works great for me because I can send him as well. Right? Go talk to them. I heard them say real estate. Go. I'll come in and pump them up for me. Yeah. So he should be my buyer's agent. We're working on this. But hey, whatever. So high eyes. What is a good job for a high eye?
Real estate agent.
I think real estate is a good job. It's a social job, isn't it? Real estate is all about networking. What other jobs don't require a lot of networking?
HR.
HR, that's what I used to do.
Any
You can
sales.
tell it text me, I had to change careers. Go ahead.
Any sales?
Sales, absolutely, any sales, right? Whether it's car sales, medical equipment sales, whatever it is. I agree, I think sales is pretty big here because you're comfortable engaging that person. That's why I want him to be my buyer's agent at some point because he's really comfortable just engaging with them. When I show a house, I'm very deliberate with it. Here you go, please let me know what questions you have. I don't say, look at this shiny cabinet, look at how this door opens so conveniently. Well, you love having coffee on the veranda, right? I don't do that because I want my buyers to paint their own picture, because I want them to be sold on their own house. I don't want to have to over-influence that and then regret it, right? That's my thought process. Bill's is, why don't I show them all of these things so that they can make the best decision possible? Okay, I see your point. Several times he's come to showings with me and the buyer has commented, why don't you do this for a living? Because they don't like paperwork.
You just use an agency.
I know, right? Yes, that's exactly right. We're getting it.
Because my natural style is low eye. but like my adaptive style, it's like the second highest one I have.
So why do you think you have to adapt so much with I?
Because at home, I'm a huge introvert, like, leave me alone, I mean, I have two kids, and I'm like, just give mom her space,
A
like,
little bit of Zen time?
yeah. But at work, or when I'm out, you know, I'm a social person, like,
Okay.
I won't go randomly talk to people at gas pumps, but, you know, I've had to
If you were at an
adapt.
event, you would feel comfortable engaging with them.
Yeah, like, I've had to learn, thankfully for my husband, because he's a huge extrovert, you know,
Yeah.
I've kind of like, I like to say I've just sucked him dry, because I'm like, you know, I take his energy from him.
Yes, yeah, that makes sense. And then you feel comfortable as an I when you take some of that
Yeah.
energy. Yeah, okay. So there's a ton of opportunity there. What could be the challenge with an I in real estate? Have you run into challenges there as an I?
Not in
In
real estate.
communicating? How about in communicating?
Yeah, like what Jerry was saying, her husband, my girlfriend, if she's like quiet, because she's pretty extroverted, I'm like, what's wrong, are you okay? So,
Yeah, there must be something
she's
bad
like,
about
I'm just relaxing and calm down.
that.
I did the same thing with my brother, because if someone's just, I guess it would be like a high D, just thinking things through in their head.
Okay.
I think something's wrong. Or
Even an
I,
S, yeah.
I need to like fix the problem, because something's not right.
Yeah,
So,
okay. Yeah, that's me too, like I'm a doer, I'm a fixer. Tell me
Yeah.
something's wrong, I'm gonna give you a solution. You're like, I didn't ask for a solution, I just wanted that.
yeah.
Okay, I don't know how to do that.
So I guess sometimes reading people wrong.
Yeah, just
I don't
getting a
know,
little
that's
nervous
straight
about it because it's not your behavior.
Yeah, it's not my behavior, it's not something I'm used to.
Yeah,
It's not my wheelhouse.
that makes sense. I agree. I think this could come across a little too strong in real estate too. Because if you're,
Sorry. In the example you were just giving,
Yeah.
like when you were talking about how, like the difference between, like if somebody was showing me a home and
Yes.
wouldn't leave me alone to walk through it, like my husband's like, oh, look at this, you could do this and you could do this, that would drive me.
that would be
crazy.
annoying, right? I wouldn't
Yeah.
like it either. I
Right.
can't even do it with him. Like, I'm gonna go to the other room while you're talking because it drives me a little crazy. Don't tell me about the curtains, they're not for sale, right? Yeah, I agree with you. So if your client doesn't understand eyes, that would actually put them off. And you think, here I am as an eye delivering this sales pitch, delivering this benefits of the house, but the D is walking out the door. Why are they walking out? I thought I was doing a great job. And it might just be that communication style. So back down a little bit, let them have their introverted moment, let them process, and then let them come to you. And then show your eye. When they come back to you, then it's like, yes, let me agree with you. This is exciting. Yes.
You have to be a really good listener.
That's an adaptive skill, isn't it? No matter which one we talk about. Listening is crucial. Totally agree. So S's is probably one that I struggle with because I have a little bit of S, but at the same time, I don't like to utilize it appropriately or effectively, I should say. So I struggle with it. S is the steady person, the stable person. They're the ones that like spreadsheets. They're ASCs a lot of times. They're the ones that are really organized. They're checking boxes, but they're also engaged. So it's a little bit of I and a little bit of D, not necessarily the determining decision maker, but to organize, get the data for that D so that they have the information they need. S is reliable. They get really uncomfortable when they don't have their spreadsheets, when they don't have their reliable processes, when they don't have a trusted and true path and they have to forge it themselves. That's very uncomfortable. Who here has a high S? Okay, I knew that already. Okay, and Jerry, you too. Okay, all right. Aaron, how does having a high S influence you?
I don't know, I feel like I'm a steady Eddie,
Yeah.
kind of.
Okay.
It takes a lot to rile me up or get me frustrated.
Okay.
Very
And so, how do you manage that? How do you? What do you do instead of get frustrated? I guess is my question.
Slow down, take a second, take a breath, and try to understand a different perspective. You know,
Okay.
if somebody, like if I'm having a disagreement with someone and, you know, high D would snap or have a decision right there.
Yes.
I don't. I don't know, naturally just take a second,
Okay.
see where they're coming from.
Okay.
Try not to get too worked up about it.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good way to take it, right? I work really well with SS because of that. I also really like organization, even though I'm not the strongest S, but I'm that strong D where I like to make decisions based on the content. So I trust this S person, right? I trust my ASC, I trust these people that I'm leaning on that are S's to give me the right information, to provide me with the tools I need to be successful with my personality. So they complement each other well. And when you're challenged, they can really complement that challenge well so that they level up there. Phil also is a high S. And it works well because he doesn't like to do stuff, like he's never gonna put a spreadsheet together, right? But if I say, let's look at a spreadsheet, he loves that. He's like, oh, I totally get it now because it's organized and I can put that thought into organized columns. What would be a challenge with an S as a realtor?
Because you're not forceful. I mean, sometimes with real estate, you kind of have to like push, and you're not pushing to sell, but you know, you have to be kind of that push, and you are your own business, so you have to forge your own path.
So if you don't push,
So if you don't push and you
you're
don't
stuck.
do this, you're not gonna succeed.
Totally agree. Yeah. What are some reliable processes or steady processes in real estate that we might utilize as S's or not? Can you think about it? You're so new to it, you might not know.
Utilize your marketing department.
Yeah, so it's the tools, isn't it? It's the marketing department, it's the ASCs, it's people like Jeanette, it's your resources around you. It's you're talking to other realtors in your office when you have a challenge. That could be a steady process for you. So I know that if I run into a hiccup, I have 4 people I can reach out to at any time. Now I have the confidence to run into hiccups because I have the resources. But it's also not just what's in front of you, but it's what you create. So as an example, even though I'm not a strong S, I do love organization. So I do have spreadsheet after spreadsheet in my database where I put all of my potential clients, all of my what I call my hot list, my cold list, my warm list, my closed numbers. I can tell you at any time what my commissions or closed numbers are right now at any time of the year, because I like as a decision maker to have that information in front of me so that I can decide, is this next meeting worth my time? Is this next something worth pursuing? So if I have somebody call me and say, hey, I'm looking at an $80,000 house in Belleding, and by the way, this is a referral, so you're only going to get a certain percentage of that of that commission, is it worth driving an hour and a half from hell? If I make that decision confidently, at least I know I can run with that because I know where my spreadsheet is already. So S, that steady stream of information, is imperative in being successful as a small business owner. If you utilize that with D or I personalities, I think it will definitely have strengths too. C, conscientious or cautious. How many people had a high C? Oh, I knew Jeanette was. Okay, Jennifer, you were too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like high C, high S.
Okay.
A little bit of.
Ouch. To me, that's an ouch. Maybe that's
Ouch.
It stresses me out. Okay.
Really?
I'm a high C as well. I'm a high D, high C, low IS, which is really weird. It's like a W basically. And again, I took this 10 years ago. They were more extreme, but they're still the same boundaries. So being a high C, how does that influence your interactions with people? Jennifer?
Well, I read through it and I thought, how am I C? So I get the S where I'm more steady A, like she said, and I'm more patient, kind of bleeding hard. But I don't know enough about C to see how I fit.
Okay.
I'm still learning about
Yeah,
C.
let's explore more then. That's a fair point. So C's are perfectionists, they're very systematic, they're very organized like an S. But the problem or the challenge for me as an IC is it makes you so conscientious. It makes you second guess, it makes you nervous, it makes you not trusted. So as an example, I might have a moment where as a D, I made a decision. This happens every day in my personal life, every single day, I swear. Because Phil is an IS, right? So he will come to me and say, well, let's make this decision to buy landscaping rocks, right? Let's go buy landscaping rocks. And I'll say, no, we're not buying landscaping rocks. It's 90 degrees out. I've made that decision, I moved on. 3 minutes later, he'll say they're 12 cents at McDonald's. Okay, let me rethink that. No, I still don't want to go outside in 90-degree weather and handle landscaping rocks. Okay, 15 minutes later, Well, we could just stop at Menards on the way home from XYZ, and we could pick up 14 of them and just decide if we wanna put them in the yard. Okay, so now you've talked to me 3 times about this. My C says pause. Don't trust anything I said as a D. I have to reevaluate everything in my life right now. Not just the landscaping routes, it's everything in my life. So now I'm second guessing everything. I'm like, okay, so hold on. So we said we didn't have to put them in the yard today. They're 12 cents. We have room in the car. We're already going to the car. What do you want to do? Just tell me. Are we getting rid of the rocks? Is that what's happening today? I give up. Because now I'm exhausted by it. And the C exhausts me. Because of the high D, high C, it really does. It just burns me out, personally. So that's how it influences me. Jennifer, you told us a little bit about you. What do you about you guys? Does it do that to you? Is it a more positive effect?
It is because
Oh,
I
yeah.
work well with high D, so I don't have to, if I work with a high D, it's wonderful because I can be the good parts of the C, like I can be the
Okay.
perfectionist, assistant, like I can do my own thing.
I need multiple personalities, is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, well, and then, like, if I were to work with you, you make a decision, okay, I don't have to second guess it. You made the decision, that's
It's
it.
not your decision.
Exactly, that's
Okay,
it, I'm done, alright, let's move on, like, I'm very just systematic in that, where it's like, okay,
Okay.
that's it, now move on to this.
You can trust it.
Yeah.
Okay. Erin, what about you?
I agree with that, but then also personally, the second guessing for me is positive.
So
And
tell me about that. How do I make it positive? I need this.
just being sure,
Okay.
making sure that the decision you're gonna make is that taking a step back, taking a minute, and then making sure that that's the decision you're
Just
making, and then
reinforce it.
feeling confident in
Okay. I need to be okay to reinforce.
it.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna work on it. So let's look at it for real estate. How does a C profile influence us as realtors? Does it?
It could be good for filling out like all your agreements, everything, making sure, like being a perfectionist,
Okay.
making sure that everything's filled out right.
Double checking everything.
Double checking it, making sure that any legal documents written up exactly how it should be.
That's a great point. Yeah, that is a good point. I've done that several times where I get back to the office and I go, how did I leave number 6 blank? How did that even happen? Now I have to go all the way back. Yes. Okay, I can appreciate that. What else? What are other benefits of being conscientious as a realtor?
Systems are important, and then being systematic about how you do your lead generation, how you do all of, however you're set up to do your business. I think that's a huge piece of it.
Kind of brings your focus back to it to make sure that you're doing it all well or that you're redefining it.
Consistent, yeah.
Okay, I can see that. Are you a high C?
No,
You're not.
no,
Yeah.
I'm
lucky
high D,
you.
high I, and very low on that.
Interesting. D and I. Okay. Interesting. So, how do we work with high Cs when they're shopping for houses? If our client is a high C, how would they demonstrate that? Think about your buyers.
I've been a buyer.
Yeah. How did you demonstrate that? How did it show up?
I mean, I didn't have a great realtor, so that probably didn't help. But it took me, 2 showings of the same house.
Okay.
Cause it wasn't that it was almost like I was second guessing, like I needed to be sure, I needed to make sure that this was checked off.
Mhm.
My,
Absolutely.
I need this, is this okay?
Yeah.
Like I literally had a checklist.
That's
that I had
smart.
written out, and
It's the
I'm like,
biggest financial decision you're gonna make. You should.
yeah, so, and I mean, that could work well with a real estate agent if you're working with somebody who's like that.
That's interesting.
Or who at least understands it.
Because
Yeah,
I'm
You
so
have a lot of
comfortable with
realtors
that.
who are
Yeah.
IDs.
Right.
You're gonna notice a quieter, slower client
Mhm.
coming through the house who really wants to take a look through everything
Yes.
thoroughly. So the ID.
And at the end, after 45 minutes of oohing and eyeing, they might go, I don't know.
Can we see you tomorrow?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to bring so and so through.
I just wanna throw the-
Yeah, I might have to just try it at 5 o'clock on a Friday to see what the traffic's like, right? That's funny because I just had a little bit of an aha as you were talking about that aha moment for myself because being a high C, I actually recommend to my clients, I didn't realize this was my personality coming through. I recommend to my clients if they like a house, they see it 3 times. So the first time, yeah, I know, you're like, why, right? You're torturing me. The first time you look at a house, you see all the things you like. The second time, you see all the challenges. And the third time, you adapt to how your furniture and your life is going to fit. That's my opinion. But maybe that's just my seat coming through. Maybe I never realized that.
I feel like if you really like a house, or if someone really likes a house, they do all that. They do
If
all
you're
that.
a D, you
First
do.
ones.
If you're a D,
I don't know though,
right?
because although it's funny.
I bought a lot of houses and I've never made the decision on the first time. Even my husband will walk in and say, I love this house, how do we write an offer? And I'll say, let's look at it tomorrow. Because I'm never gonna make a financial decision that quickly, even as a D.
See, he's more emotional and
He
you're
is.
more
He's not.
methodical.
That's very true.
Actually,
I
that's
was
very
put an
true.
offer in, and I was like, we've been here 10 minutes.
Are we ready for that?
Let me do some more investigating.
And is that the house you bought?
Yeah, it ended up being a house we
There we
bought, but it was still just like, you have to let,
second guess that.
well, you have to let me process it out, like, I need
Yes.
to go look at the electrical, like,
Yeah.
I need to look at brick rocks, I need to look at these things, I need to look at the plumbing, like, I'm super thorough, and he's like, no, it's good, I'm like, no.
Let me figure that out first. Were you gonna add that?
No, it was, when I think about, as we talk about this type of personality, we were working with a client who came in and we had 5 houses for her to look at. So
Yeah.
we went to the first one and she was there for about 45 minutes. So then we left and she said, I want to go see that one again. Can we get back in there? And so then she was like, well, can my husband and I come see it this weekend? And then she had to bring her kids back.
Oh,
And
yeah.
her 7-year-old didn't like it, so she ended up not going through with that.
Oh my God.
But I was like, if we just cut him off with the husband, it would have
Right.
been fine.
When the kids get to make the decision, I guess, okay. They gotta live there too.
But when you think about that, that would be a deal breaker if you were working with an agent that was trying to rush you.
Yeah. If you were working with a high D that didn't recognize that, that would be really challenging, wouldn't it? How would you feel as a client if you were trying to set up the third showing and they were like, really? That would be tough, wouldn't it? I mean, this is the biggest financial decision you're gonna make probably in your life. If I'm not patient with you as your realtor, what's the rest of this process gonna look like? This is the beginning of the process, let's be honest. There's a whole big process in front of us if we get this accepted. So I definitely understand that and I adapt to that, that's my adaptation. Yeah, I think C's are great. I think there's a lot of benefit in them, but we definitely need to take the time to understand how that influences us when we look at houses. I've shown houses to your guys' point, what you're saying, 45 minutes, an hour. One time we were doing a final walkthrough, and it was over an hour and a half. And I had to actually tell my client, you're gonna have the keys in 3 days, get out. Like the people are waiting to get back in their house to finish packing. I don't know why you're going through all this. We've done this. We're good, Like the high D in me has to get you going here, And they were literally like picking out paint colors. Stuff. That is not what a walkthrough is for. I learned how to prep my buyers a little better now. All right, so let's look at a few things in terms of the entire concept of disc profiling. I just like this image because it helps us understand some of the different ways that it impacts us and where. So if you're a high D, you're probably more forceful, you're louder, you're challenging, and you're very direct. That's not a negative thing, that's just a behavior thing. But it can be perceived as negative. Whereas if you're an I, you're more enthusiastic, more dramatic, more energetic, you feed off of the energy of others, and you enjoy having that connection. Whereas maybe a D doesn't. S is going to be more warm and steady, more, I like the comfort, but I like the reliability of it. I like the systematic process in front of me that I can trust and believe in at all times. And then C being okay, I have to think this through, I have to make sure 100% this is the right decision because I have to go through all the bad or other sides of that decision before I commit to it. And they're not going to commit right away, they might not commit at all, but they need the time to process that. I like the idea of the rapport here. So a D is far more focused on professional behavior, whereas an I and an S are going to be much more focused on personal. I want to get to know you. I want to find out about your family. I want to hear about your kids' ambitions. I want to know where they're going to play in this house. Whereas a D is going to be okay, well, does this fit the budget? Does it check your boxes, right? You want like to see as well. Does this fit? Yes, no. You can definitely tailor it to your needs as you're moving on. That feels a little colder. It feels a little more professional. It doesn't feel as personal and intimate. So they're going to be all focused on different things in that respect. They're going to word things differently. They're going to say things like, well, to fix this or to resolve this as a D, we're going to do X, Y, Z. We're not going to sit in the problem. We're going to give you a solution and expect that you're going to run with it. Whereas a high I or a high S is going to look more toward, how can I help you? How can we make you feel better? Let me help you fix this. And then an S is going to go, okay, here are all the options. Here are 74 options, and here are 10 more possible options. Let's talk through all of these and see which one you like the best. And then when you decide as a D, I can back away. Any thoughts or questions on this? Take a moment to read through some of the words here. Can you see it, by the way? Because it's not great. I know it's not large to see. Maybe not? Okay. So think about that and tell me if any of those actually are things that you've said or done recently.
My day-to-day.
What's that?
Said both the S and C, those are my day-to-day.
Yes. Okay. That's just what you say every day.
Like, that's just, I mean, it's part of my,
We just took this out of your script.
it's my job description, that's everything's, how can I help you with it? What do you need? And, okay, based on what you give me, I still need this, this, and this, or you need to answer these questions, and it's.
So for me, the difference there with what you're referring to, as an S, I want to know more about your feelings, and as a C, I want to know more about the process. So the S is going to be okay, well, is it okay if you give me this? Do you feel comfortable giving me this? Versus, can you give me this? Did you give me this? So that's kind of some of the define, but you probably use both all the time.
Yeah, so because those are my highs.
Do you feel comfortable doing this?
Yeah, I have to blend the two.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas the S kind of bores me. If somebody said, well, how do you feel about showing these houses? Do I have time? That's all I care about. Of course I'll show you houses, it's my job, right? It's not about feeling for me, it's about function. So I'm gonna focus more on the D. I'm gonna say, well, let's resolve this, or the C, let's just confirm that we've got it set. Interesting. Jason, did any of these impact you?
We're pretty good at problem solving. I can think of a silly example. I was at a wedding last weekend and I had to find a DD. And it doesn't sound like it sounds easy, but it's really not.
Yeah.
All college age kids. So I solved everybody's problem.
All right. So was it more of the, hey, how can we fix this, or was it more of the, how do we feel about this fix?
It is more like I'll handle it and I'll get back to you.
Just not
Yeah.
D there. Okay. All right. Nice. And it worked.
Right.
You adapted,
Yep, great buddy.
inebriated or not, it functions. All right.
You got everyone on the same.
Everyone was
say.
That's perfect. That's the result. That's the C.
That's my silly example.
Perfect. I like that. So it's how we adapt and it's how we choose to utilize this as a resource to really understand our clients, our personal lives, and ourselves. And if we can apply this effectively, it helps us break down barriers of communication. To what we started with today, communication is a challenge in every respect, and it's up to us on how we understand and interpret that. So we can do that well with our clients, we can do it well with our loved ones, our siblings, we can do that well with strangers. It's how we want to apply that. If you have a moment where you kind of don't understand something, you're a little bit confused, it feels like an objection maybe it feels like somebody's being aggressive or intimidated or not engaged, maybe take a moment to think about that as their personality. Shift your mindset a little bit, put yourself in their shoes, so to speak, and say, okay, how does this person normally behave in these situations? And maybe it's just a personality difference. If I tailor that, if I condition myself a little bit, if I adapt, maybe I can communicate better and ultimately help them make the best decision. Do you have any questions about this content as we wrap up? will you be able to utilize this information as you move forward in your careers? How will you utilize it? So 17 people shook their heads. Go ahead, I'm sorry, I can't see your name.
JD.
JD.
Everybody has a different way of thinking. I mean, not exactly you have to get to like go into their minds about stuff, but like be aware that just there's certain ways that people go around things that are different than you. You
Yeah.
just kind of have to tailor to that.
So by recognizing it, you can tailor it to that, and then you each have a better opportunity to understand.
Mhm.
Absolutely, yeah. And we said that this business, real estate, is a networking business. It's a communication business. It's literally what we do every day. If we don't do it well, what could the impact be? You're not making any money. And trust me, you want to make money, right? So I said earlier that I'm more of an introvert, but I actually am not high I. But I adapt myself and I get more engaging with people because I recognize that there's a real value to it. The C and the D in me say, there's money to be made if you go talk to those people, Rob. Go over there. You can engage, and then I do. It's not instinctive, it's adaptive. And that's up to you to recognize, adapt, and adjust. Does this happen overnight? No. How long should it take? 2 to 3 days? 5 to 7 business days? Plus maybe.
It can take years.
Could take years. It's your whole life, right?
I think the older you are, I can speak to the room,
We make
that
judgment.
you really learn to adapt and modify your behavior based on what situations you're in, and personality types.
I think that's true only because the more you go through as a person, regardless of age, I think you do learn to adapt more. So somebody that's had a challenging life might learn to adapt to more situations faster than others, for instance. Would you guys agree with that?
I'm a nurse in my
A
life,
nurse, yeah.
and looking at the growth, D when I need to be in an emergency situation, and, so, yeah, you definitely do.
You have to almost, don't you, if you want to be successful? Absolutely. So now that you've had a chance to explore the different personality profiles, the different concepts, and where you fall in those concepts, we've also discussed how you can adapt those things and how you can tailor those to your clients' and customers' needs. Do you have any last questions or thoughts for me? All right, well, I hope you have the most success possible in real estate. I know that you'll do great because you joined a great team. And it's up to you now to run with it. And also, there's fun pictures of my dogs. This one, okay, I'll just run it. This one is Lana, she's only a year old. And the smaller one here, this is Ari, she's 7, or 9, figure that out, whatever. So we've had her for 7 years. But Lana, she is supposed to be a teacup chihuahua. And when I took her to the vet, she was a, what did she say? She was a hefty 9.2. And I was like, what does that mean? Because I was like, are you being sassy? That's the D&D, right? I'm like, why are you being rude? Conscientious, did I do something wrong? And she says, well, I mean, she is supposed to be a teacup chihuahua, and they're usually about 5 pounds. And I was like, wait, what? And which is true. She goes, and she's only a year. And I was like, oh, okay, so when we put it all together, I'm screwing up. Thanks for that clarification. So then I put her on an only dog food diet. She loves to chew treats and she loves to eat. She will eat anything. Literally shoes, tennis balls, doesn't matter. She's the doggest dog I've ever had. So I put her on a dog food only diet. I brought her in about a month later to get her nails trimmed. I said, let's put her on a scale because I'm really confident we did good. 10.8 pounds. She gained 1.5 pounds in a month. How did that happen? I was like, this is your fault. The vet texted her laughing so hard. She's down to 10.4. But I think we're just going to be okay with that. But this was her, like 8 weeks old. We don't tell her she was. She's not stay time. Okay. So if you need anything, I will leave extra cards with Jeanette. But otherwise, I passed out a few. We had a chance to chat a little bit beforehand. You definitely, like I said, have a great support system here at Coldwell. So utilize it. If you have a question, it does not hurt to ask. It does not hurt to throw a thought or process out to somebody else. We've all been in these seats, well, not these physical seats, but you get the idea. And so we all have to adapt to our new business and learning how to be the CEO and the decision maker and the person who follows orders all at the same time. It's a lot to do, so lean on the people who want to help you. Okay? All right, thanks, guys.
Oh, there we go. I'm Jody, I'm in the marketing department. The marketing department consists of several different areas. Just because you may be in Holland, you think you have an advantage of being marketing department right here, but we actually have, 3 different locations. We have Holland, we have Traverse City, and then we also have designers in Florida. So you might end up getting a text from one of us. Most everything we proof via email anyway, so it really doesn't have that big advantage except for talking face to face with one of us. But you can stop in the marketing department anytime. Our doors are always open. If you can give us a heads up that you're coming, does help. But normally there's 1 or 2 of us here that can answer your questions or go over anything you might need in marketing. This is just gonna be a quick little tutorial on what the marketing department can do for you. As we say, we have a team for you. We go over brand, anything from introductory mailers to a EDDM postcard mailing to helping you with your sphere, getting that all set up, pulling addresses, farming and leads. Farming is one of those words that is, a lot of people are like, I'm gonna farm this area. I normally don't recommend farming a particular area just because you like that area or that area has high-end houses or that. I normally would more recommend that you farm your neighborhood, just because normally on certain subdivisions, everybody wants that $500,000 subdivision. Those people probably have already bought and sold many homes to get to that level, and they've already got a real estate agent. And just for you, because, okay, I sent them 1 postcard, they're probably not going to end up listing with you. And you're probably gonna have to send them several years worth of postcards to get them to even remember your name. So farming this is my opinion only, you will have the occasional where, hey, I farmed this area and I got 4 listings. I've never heard that happening, I've heard maybe 1, but it's still a needle in a haystack as far as where your money should be put towards in marketing. The Schmidt resource page has everybody heard of the Schmidt resource page, first of all? If it is not, it's someplace you should bookmark and visit anytime you have a question. We've started putting this source together probably about a year and a half ago, and from there we keep adding things so things get changed, how kind of where things are positioned, so just kind of look around if you have any questions where you still need help finding it, go to your ASC or give us a call if you need help finding something in that book. But it's kind of formatted where we've got, because we've got our different regions, Michigan, Ohio, Florida, and the US Virgin Islands. It's kind of broken about so you'd go to Michigan first, and then from there, scroll your way through. The main screen has presentations, luxury information. So if you need to list, if you're hopefully going to list a luxury property, go into that luxury, and it will give you multiple things. How to get your book in the Coldwell Banker Homes or Luxury magazine. You know, it's only printed once a year, but there's a digital version every month and it gets pushed out on social media. Marketing materials, the marketing team, G Suites that are email softwares now on all video tips from JD, he's a very good presenter and you'll find out that he's much better when he gets in this afternoon than I do. So that's why I go first, so I don't look so bad. But just quotables, there's a logo, logoware that we're gonna be in the store, so we're gonna start building that out in the next year, where you can order, polo shirts, or you can order pens, just all different trinkets, that you could order to help your business or give for listing, gifts in that spot. If you need to download a logo for a particular publication, we have a logos, tab that you can download what you need. It's just a great resource to find whatever you may need, and kind of your first step, and then, you know, from there, go to your ASC and give me a call and wherever you might be. So if we go to the marketing tab at the top, it's the little light bulb. And it kind of, let's see, just that we, in the listing books, which I've got some for you, I don't have the Schmidt, or who's from Fremont? You're from Fremont. I do not have the Schmidt one, realtors, but check with your ASC or Pam in that area. She should, did you get a book?
No, not yet.
Okay, check if she has them available. We're actually going to print tomorrow with the new ones. If you don't get one, check with me later and I'll make sure you get one of the new ones once they get printed. It'll be probably another month yet before we get them in our hands. But I do have Grand Rapids and the Woodland region, a few of them. So check, see with me on that. Also, I do have some black books, also the luxury books, and they're just a great presentation. With that, we can also do custom insert sheets. Say you want to give a little bit of market information, or you want to add a bio sheet. We can add those to a little packet. We've got folders in each of the offices that you can add them to, or we can actually make custom folders in the marketing department for you. This is the marketing team. We've actually got 10 designers on staff. As I said, they range from the Holland, Woodland Schmidt region. We've got some in Traverse City, Ohio, and in Florida. You may reach out to any one of us. We all have access to all the same files. So if you're working on a business card and you happen to send it to Megan in Traverse City, she would have your headshot and all the information she would need also. So it's just, you don't have to go to one single person and I'm the only one that has your information or your folder. We actually have a folder on each agent or new agent. And in that we put your postcards, your listing presentations, your folders, your business cards, email signatures. So we have everything in one folder, everything represented of you. We can also save your Excel list for your Sphere mailing list also. The marketing department also has a tab that we have, like your business card order form. So if you wanted, did everybody get a business card yet in here, or at least started? Okay. In the marketing department, there is a business card form. If you want to fill that out, you can give it to your ASC, or you can email me and just send it to me that way. JD will be taking some headshots this afternoon. If anyone does need a headshot taken, he will give me the photo, I will touch it up, and then send it to you. You'll approve the photo, and we can go from there. If you don't like your photo or want it retaken, you can either see JD or provide me with a high-res image that we can use for all your marketing material. In this marketing tab also, there's several different things. So if you're looking to do a monthly calendar or a campaign, we've got different postcard campaigns in there. We've got like a sphere of influence presentation that you can read through, why we kind of target your sphere and different hints for like managing your database. I have a lot of agents that have grown in marketing. So maybe their first year in marketing, they're just doing the minimum 200 postcards a month or every other month, once a quarter, depends what your budget is and how often you want to mail your sphere. But we recommend.
I can wait, I'm
Oh,
sorry, I
no
should have
problem.
mentioned in that.
Nope, anytime. As far as your sphere goes, we kind of get a hold of all friends, families, acquaintances, anyone you can get. But we also kind of recommend that you market to your neighborhood. So with that being said, I can pull a mailing list for you. Just give me your address and say I want an additional 50 names or 100 names to add to my sphere list. And then you need to, manage that list. So, make sure you go through it at least 2 times, if not 4 times a year. Make sure no one has deceased that you know, name changes, divorces, people getting married, kind of manage it that way. Also add different columns to who you send information to. Maybe you only want to send Christmas cards to your top 25 or 50 people, have a category for mailing Christmas cards. Have your list divided by your top 100 people that you think are going to be maybe think about moving in this next year. So you don't have to mail your whole list every single time, but kind of be specific on why you're mailing to them. Are you asking for listings? Are you going to give them information about selling a home? Is it kind of a generic, you want to send a football schedule, so let's send it to everybody because everybody wants to know when the Detroit Tigers will lose or, there's a miracle and they win. Maybe you're a big State or Michigan fan that you want to send out, combination football because people are going to actually hold on to that. We have agents sending out sunset cards. If there are a lot of them on the lake shore, everybody wants to know when the sun is setting tomorrow. Is it going to be at 8:30 or is it 9:30? So a lot of times people will hold on to those kind of cards. Recipe cards you can do. It doesn't sell a home, but that's really not the idea of a postcard. It's basically to stay in front of one of your clients, that your clients know you are still in real estate. So it's just a friendly reminder, just like on Facebook, putting out little blurbs. I kind of say it really depends. If you go to the mailbox and you get your mail, if you get a postcard, you kind of glance at it 30 seconds and normally it's going to be in the garbage. But in that 30 seconds, they still know you sell real estate and, maybe put some little information, that you're looking for referrals. It's not so much what's on the postcard, it's just that it's another way to interact with your sphere and keep them engaged that you're selling real estate. We also have buyer's pack and listing packs that kind of gives little helpful hints that you can give when you're doing the listing appointment or meeting with a first-time agent. So those are good informational packets, take a look at those, we can just drop, what we normally do is just drop an email signature in there and they're ready to go, you can, or customize them that you want to, have builders in there or home inspectors, or these are your mortgage loan people that you normally deal with. So it's just a helpful tool. With your introductory with Coldwell Banker, you are actually given a 200-piece intro mailer, 1,000 business cards. We can do an email signature. At additional cost, we can do pocket folders. In a pocket folder, we can just print one if you need it. They're $2 a piece. They can be customized with your name. Note cards we can do, we've got envelopes. It's a personal touch. A lot of times if you're at an open house, you've got a little bit of time sometimes. You know, whoever comes through your open house, try to get their email address, their address, and just send them a thank you for coming to your open house. Or, you know, send a thank you to your loan officer, write a, if you can get birthdays for some of your clients, send them a birthday or like an anniversary, keep track of the date that they purchased a home or sold their home and just send them a thank you or an anniversary card once a year. It's just another personal touch that you would have with your clients. We also can do just listed and just sold cards for any new listings that you have.
Must be in the wrong room.
You're in the wrong room. I don't know what room they're looking for. This is a little circle of influence book, and it kind of, if you just read through it, it kind of goes through how people come in and out of your sphere. You might have a walk-in client that you've never met before, and at the moment they start out at a 7, and by the time you buy or sell a home with them, you know, they're almost into your 2 and 3 category of how close they are with you. And then you kind of drift off, and if you never contact them again, they kind of fall off your radar and they don't know if you're selling if they decide to sell in another 6 years. So it's just very important. Your clients and your sphere are the people that are going to buy and sell real estate from you. And they've got to make sure that you know that they are part of your client base and that you care about them. So one time it might be a postcard, one time it might be an email signature, you might have a client event that you host at an ice cream place in the summer that you just invite friends and family to come to that. There's just all different ways to reach your sphere. It doesn't have to be through print, it can be through an email. With your circle of influence, we have an Excel document that will actually load into your Zap profile if you haven't started just loading your information into Zap. But make sure you are on your mailing list. You want to make sure you know when the postcards are being sent and when they get in the mail. And I would suggest you keep a copy of everything you do for marketing. You can also include your manager in your office if you want. And make sure you add like a radius around 50 because real estate agents really do not like it that 2 houses down put a for sale sign from someone else in their neighborhood. And you're like, why didn't you list with me? And half the time it's because they didn't even know you sold real estate. So it's just a good idea to market your area. You normally care about your neighborhood. It's just a good conversation piece to have with your neighbors also. The G Suites, there is an Excel, or it's actually called, if you don't have Excel, there's actually in your G Suites through Coldwell Banker, there's a program called Sheets, and that is like equal to your Excel list. The listing presentation books, you can basically order through me, or there's an online information that you can email, like Blue Books. I'm not sure of the website right now, but it's in the present, or in the Schmidt resource page, that you can order them online and we'll ship them to you. The books are currently $9 and $12. We are trying to get a bulk rate this next time ordering them, so we're hoping they are a little bit cheaper than this even. They're just a very impressive piece. This is the black book to take on a listing presentation. You can actually leave these with your client, or you can go through it with your client and then take them back with you. The blue books that we're recreating right now and going to press tomorrow will be the same size as the blue books, or black books. So there'll be a little bit different format. Still, they'll have a soft touch cover and they'll be perfect bound.
When are the new ones available for us to purchase?
They will be going to print tomorrow. So I would say within a month, they'll be available to the offices. Branding standards, like I said, in the Schmidt resources, there is a place to download all the logos. There is also, I'm hoping there's a brand standard in there. I should actually ask JD on how to do this. So if you're doing your own marketing and you have a question on if this is compliant with Coldwell Banker, just save it to your, and send me a PDF and I can let you know if there's if you're missing anything. On all marketing pieces, the Coldwell Banker logo is a trademarked logo, so it has different standards to go by. It cannot be like smaller than an inch. Your name cannot be larger than the kind of the width of the Coldwell Banker. You should have some disclaimers on information. Each office is independently owned. So if you're doing your own marketing, just shoot me an email the first couple times and say, hey, is this compliant? You know, do I have everything I need on there? We can do that. Or if you end up sending a job to marketing, we all know the standards and we will have it made for you correctly, and so you don't get in trouble with the state. There is a new Coldwell, we're in the process of changing to a Coldwell Banker. It's called North Star. The final artwork has not been approved, so at this point we cannot use the CB star as the logo as far as like Coldwell Banker. Right now we can use it as a icon, so we can use it in correlation with the Coldwell Banker logo. I believe September now they're telling us we should be having the new standards and how to use the Coldwell Banker approved by the brand. So that is coming soon. Different in the Schmidt resources, there's a whole thing under technology. So it can get you to your CB Exchange, your the blogs, the YouTubes, all the information like that. But I will also, I've got everybody's email. I'll send this presentation just so you can look through it too if you have any questions on different resources that are available. We actually have through Chicago Title, they let us use their, to pull our addresses. So like I said, if you need your address 50 of radius around your home pulled, just send me your, that address. Your first one would be covered for your new intro card, so if you wanted the addresses, but going in the future, if you're doing any listings or just listed, just sold postcards and need us to pull a list, they are 6 cents a lead. that would get charged back on your monthly agent statement from marketing, along with any print, that you would do. I don't think I mentioned before, but our services are free to Coldwell Banker agents. The only time you pay for marketing is when you physically do any printing. So you do print postcards or you print folders, note cards, anything like that. For us to design an ad or a Facebook post, that there's no charge to you on those. It's just when you physically print material is when you get charged.
I have a question. So what I was gonna ask before, when you were talking about the 200, I think, postcards that go out as a mailer, I'm wondering, one, how effective mailers are, and if you had the opportunity to do something digital instead. And then if you do it that way, can you reserve that 200 for those postcards to go towards some other type of mailing?
Normally what I would do is I would check with your manager.
Okay.
I don't see an issue with that. Like I said, any of the postcards we design or the intro card that we design, we can give you as a JPEG that you can send out digitally.
Okay.
And go from there. But I would just check with your ASC or your manager and say, hey, I'm looking at doing this. Normally your intro mailer is about $150. So normally they don't have an issue, but it just depends on the manager on what they feel is right for your area. Mhm. Also from that Chicago site, we can either pull the mailing list, we can also format it correct in, Jeanette, what time am I done?
You have about an hour.
Oh, does she?
I didn't think I only got half an hour. We can also pull the site or the taxpayer address. So that is a very tricky matter. Normally, if you're thinking about sending out a just listed postcard and you send it, we're just gonna take Holland City for an example, and you wanted to send it to a radius of 50 around an address that you just listed, I'd probably suggest that you use the site address. Because maybe someone's renting in the area and you have them send a just listed card and they're like, hey, I want to stay in this area, I don't want to rent anymore, they might pick it up. If you're sending a just sold postcard, you might want to send to the taxpayer because maybe one of the renters or someone in that area is actually thinking about selling. They know you just sold a property in that area. So that it's kind of a balance that you want to kind of think about who you want to send it to. I mean, sometimes they're the same person, but sometimes they're not. I kind of recommend always sending, if you're sending to like Lake Macatawa, the residents there, I would make sure you send it always to the taxpayer. Because sometimes if it's a cottage or a second home, they don't actually have a physical mailbox and your postcard will just kind of drift out into space. So it's kind of, you gotta know your area and how it's going to go. Normally when we mail out, when we pull and addresses for like a just listed, just sold postcard, we will normally add our current residents to that postcard just to help it get delivered. Because a lot of times 15% return on addresses we pull. There's not much we can do it unless you want to research every address you mail to. So it's kind of just the cost of doing business. Second, if you mail to a condo complex and you mail in January, February, or March, a lot of times some of the people in a condo may be in Florida for 3 months. Their postcards do not get forwarded. So you kind of have to really play with when also you mail different things. We have a higher return rate in January, February, and March because of that information, not, getting forwarded from the post office. Property owner data is a Colo Banker site that you can pull your own MAC addresses for. I think it's a little bit harder than having us do it because you actually need to know the physical address. Like if you're doing Ransom Street, Ransom goes from basically the lake shore all the way into Jenison. You know, it continues. So you need to know it's the 1400s through the 1500s, and it pulls one street at a time. So it's a little more cumbersome, but if you like pulling your own addresses and having a little more control, this is the site for you. And someone else will actually go through more the how to use these tools in your training. CB Exchange or CB e-marketing is another source that you can do. It's a lot of e-marketing things, so e-cards and that kind of stuff. You can actually set up your whole campaign in January and forget about it the rest of the month. So if you want to do, holiday cards, it's all set up for you. Express Docs is another tool Coldwell Banker has. We actually have a site. You can order some of the postcards. You can order. Are you for the new agent class?
Oh, no.
I don't know where they're meeting, but people have been walking in, and I believe they're back next door.
Oh, okay. So.
No problem. I'm like, I think you've already done the new agent class. There's actually a code that you can order if you want to do postcards through them. There's actually a Schmidt 15 discount. Their products are very, very nice. They're high gloss, full bleed. I'd say the product is nicer than what I produced in the marketing department, but they are also more costly. So it just depends on what you need. And I'll end up walking you through the marketing department in a little bit on kind of the samples and what we can do in marketing. Express Docs is another source that you can order postcards through. And they actually now have, for the Coldwell Banker Schmidt family, has a free version. So you can upload your photos right there and you can export it as a PDF in case you don't have time for marketing to produce something for you. And you can just print it right in your office. There's instructions in the resource center on that, also how to walk yourself through that. And as far as marketing timelines, anything like listing specific, we turn around in 2 to 3 working days. Anything agent specific that you want to do a postcard for a mailer or something like that, we're normally at about 5 working days. So if you can kind of keep that in mind, if you want to do some holidays, make sure you add enough time for us to produce the thing and for a week. Suggest if you want to do a 4th of July postcard that just happened, make sure middle of June you're getting us the information to mail it out. CB Exchange is, we kind of call it the Google of Coldwell Banker. When you go into CB Exchange, you can type anything in that search bar. And if you need information on buyers or sellers, images, you can find everything you need there. There's videos, there's tutorials, there's different fact sheets. Just take some time to go through that. I would also suggest, as far as your homework, if you want me to pull up your addresses around your home, just shoot me an email with your addresses and your address and how many addresses you want me to pull for your mailing list, and we can do that. As I said, that is the first time to get your Sphere mailer out at no charge. So if you want 50 to 100 of them, let us know. Start working on your database for your mailing and make sure you keep maintaining that. And kind of come up with a bio sheet. You'll need that for your bio on the Coldwell Banker site and the Schmidt resource or Schmidt site. Include some background why you like real estate. The other thing is if you're having trouble coming up with something, visit some of the other agents that are successful, see what they write for a bio, what they have on their bio page. Don't write it word for word, but at least it'll give you a starting point to start your own. It's kind of like a resume page. And that's all I really have, but I would like to kind of walk you through the marketing department, show you where we are, what the Holland marketing department can do as far as print capabilities also. So, any questions?
Cool. Let's take a tour.
Is ready yet?
20,000.
Yes, that's a good feeling. All right, hi everybody. Welcome to day 2 of 20 or 30 of Launchpad. I'm JD. This is going to be Facebook digital stuff. So I'll get into my group in a second. For how minutes. So I am your digital media and technology specialist. Is my title. A little bit of background, real quick. Born in Rockford, right a little bit north of Grand Rapids. So it's really fun for me having an office in Rockford. So I go there every once in a while. Went to a film school downtown Grand Rapids called Compass College. If you guys have heard of that before, it's right on Sheldon right now. Got a degree from Compass, went out to LA and worked there for a few years, originally doing working on some TV and commercial sets for production companies, and then ended up working full-time at Discovery, where I got into the social media sort of management aspect of it. So about 7 years ago, the Discovery Channel bought a bunch of digital properties, which were basically YouTube channels at the time. Took them, transformed them into, bless you, half Discovery properties, half their own sort of YouTube channels, and I managed anywhere between 3 to 8 platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Vine, and a couple other ones that are dead now, for 3 to 4 different channels. So like my job was creating videos, creating scripts, creating content, interacting with our community, and so on and so forth. A lot of fun. YouTube was a cool place to work. It was a very rare setup because we were technically Discovery employees, but we got to work for a YouTube channel. And a lot of YouTubers don't have that luxury, right? They're trying to get views and pay for things out of their couch money and stuff. But ultimately, having a big company like that really allows you to. One of the great things is we got to work with their TV marketing team. So all of this marketing stuff that we learned about Facebook video and YouTube, and also this marketing in general, came from the people who were doing Shark Week and the Puppy Bowl and stuff like that, which was, we got to do some of the Puppy Bowl. We still have them for our dog, a little Puppy Bowl bandana. So about 3 years ago now, which seems crazy, we moved back here in the back, delinquent in the back row. We moved back. You the picture. We both work here. It's been about 3 years now. My role I always think it encompasses 3 levels. The big one being company-wide. Where are we as a company moving our marketing? So it was about 2 years ago, we found out through a big franchise meeting Mike Schmidt, the head of our franchise, and a bunch of other franchise heads we found out that we were spending 700% more on print than any other Coldwell Banker franchise in the country. And we kind of realized, okay, we gotta look at that and see if we're actually getting our money's worth. And so in certain places and cases we work, like our luxury magazine, I don't know if Jody went over that earlier, but that was well worth the money that we put into that for the legitimate leads and stuff we get out of it, to just the branding itself. But in other cases, we had to think about how are we gonna transition. First of all, do we need to transition? Secondly, what to? What is the smart step? So that on a huge company Schmidt level, on office levels, I work with all of our ASCs to help run their office pages. So most offices or regions. So like in the Grand Rapids region, we have one page that represents all of the, from Sparta all the way through Grand Rapids. I help the ASCs run those and kind of work with the managers on what their focuses are. And then of course, the third level, the most important level is agents, is working with you guys one-on-one to go over stuff, working with you on stuff like this. If we do all this stuff and then, a couple days from now, you're like, hey, I set some stuff up, can you take a look at it? Or I've got this ad idea, what do you think? Send it over and I'd love to take a look at that kind of stuff. Video production, any of that stuff. So those are the three levels: company, office, and agent. And like I said, agent is always the most important, but also the most fun because everybody's doing something different, and it's fun to get to work with that. So the main things we're going to talk about today are actually these top three: why Facebook, why social marketing, how to create a page, and then a few posting basics. And then after that, we're going to do headshots. So if anybody here wants a headshot, doesn't have one, we're going to side take some really good ones. Jody can do just about anything to you in the world with her software. It is crazy what she can do. She can widen your smiles, she can change the color of your teeth, she can widen your eyes. Like, that's the weirdest one, to see someone squinting and then just watch her move the bar and the eyes just widen. So she can do just about anything, and she doesn't have to do anything to you else. It's totally up to you. So we're going to spend the bulk of the time, like I said, on the first section, the Facebook marketing or the why. Hi Sam, I'm making sure there's no comments coming in. So why Facebook? And the reason why I'm going to focus so heavily on this part for a while is there are sort of three groups of agents. One is the people who they know what they're doing, they know what they want to do, and they're going to go out and do it when it comes to this kind of stuff. There are the other group, and the second group are the people who understand why they need to do it. They get why Facebook is important, they get why social media marketing is important, but they don't know how to do it. And then the flip of that is there are people who don't know why they're doing this or what the goal of it is to get out there. But they understand how to do it. Like, they know how to post, they know what to do, but they don't have any motivation to do it. And that's more dangerous to me because if you're just posting for the sake of posting, you're not going to get anything out of it. There are a lot of agents I know who pay companies, third-party companies, to post stuff to their Facebook page. 5 days a week, a new article comes out, and they don't do ads. They don't do anything else. They literally just post 5 days a week. And those agents might come to me and they're like, hey, my page isn't growing. I'm like, okay, well, let's go back and look at your page. There's no listings. There's no photos or videos of you. All there is are articles posted at the same time every day to the same people. You're not sending people there. Your page isn't growing. So why would you get anything from it? Right? So that's the kind of trap that I'm always worried about us falling into is the, well, I know how to do it, but not why. Whereas if you have the motivation, you understand the value of it, but you don't know how to do it, you're more apt to want to learn how to do it. Because there's intrinsic value there. We've had an agent, just to use one example, Dave Reimers in the Grand Haven office. He has been this is his second, I want to say, maybe third, second or third full year in real estate. He came from the auto industry. He'd been doing auto for 20-some years. Did not have any real estate experience, did not have any Facebook experience. But in December of 2016, yes, he's in his third year. December 2016, he started. He sat down with me. He's like, I'm going to do this Facebook thing. I don't understand it yet, but I know it's going to be what I do. I'm like, awesome. Now he has, at around the 2-year mark earlier this year, he had over 1,000 followers on his Facebook page. He regularly gets not just leads, but referrals from there as well. And the reason why it works for him is because he sees it as a literal main pillar of his business. The other trap that people fall into is they see somebody do something really successful, and maybe that person is spending the majority of their marketing budget on Facebook. If you have $200 of marketing a month, that's what you budgeted. If you're spending, you might just look at someone and go, wow, they're doing really great. I'm going to spend $20 a month so I can do what they're doing. Well, if they're spending $200 and you're spending 10% of that, you're only going to get 10% of the value out of it. That's the other thing I see a lot of people go, well, I did a video too, but it didn't do anything. Like, well, did you advertise it? Did you do anything with it? Or did you just post it and, cross your fingers? Some things do go viral, but they're very rare and few far in between. So this is another rhetorical question. This is an actual one. What do these 3 photos tell you about me?
Like sports. I feel like nature. Dogs.
Dogs. Yes, that's the easiest one. Nature is perfect, and also big film camera in the middle on set. And then the third one, yes, sports, soccer specifically. If you want to talk soccer any day, just let me know. It'll be a little too long for conversation. But these are all, oh man, I forgot to do that. I didn't do it right. Don't look at this photo. So it's not worth it. So Facebook is one of the platforms, one of the very main platforms that you can target just about anything about somebody, right? It's not, Jeanette and I had a long conversation about this a couple of years ago. It's a difference between mass marketing and target marketing, right? You're not trying to get your ad in front of the most people, you're trying to get your ad in front of the right people. Because the most people, especially when it comes to real estate, aren't going to be interested in buying or selling a home. I think I read somewhere, oh man, I might be wrong on this. I think I read somewhere from NAR that it's at any given time, 3 to 4% of the US population are interested in a real estate transaction. So out of every 100 people, only 3 or 4 of them are actually in the market to buy or sell legitimately. So if your goal is just to get it out in front of as many people as you want, first of all, only 3 to 4% of the world, of the population are interested in it. Secondly, how many of them already have an agent or are already working with a company? So again, it comes down to target marketing, which is, it might be a smaller audience size, but I want my ad to get in front of the right people, the people who are interested in what I have to offer. So imagine and this is a big part of it, obviously, cost-effective relationship you could begin if you hit my emotional center by putting directly in my line of vision a movie about dogs or soccer jerseys for dogs, right? I have not seen Air Bud World Pup. Once I have kids, I'll probably have an excuse to see it. I feel like it'd be weird if Jeanette came home and saw me watching that by myself. So the idea is that you can Facebook allows you to make an ad for JD. It allows you to make an ad for video gamers who are 18 to 24 who also love A, B, and C. Or for moms who just had a kid and are also into yoga and health crazes, right? Like, it's not just, I want to do this for everybody. It is, these are the people who are going to be interested in what I have to offer, and this is how I'm going to advertise it to them. And one thing I do want to clear up that's become pretty big over the past couple of years is this notion that Facebook sells your data. That's sort of the big phrase that people use, that Facebook sells your data. That's not the case. How Facebook works, and we'll get into this, I want to say it's next week, is that part 2 with me? I think, yeah, you guys know what I do. We'll get into that more next week, how it specifically works, but what happens is you tell Facebook, I want to reach people who are 18 to 35 in a 10-mile radius of Holland, Michigan, who are interested in Zillow and real estate and swimming. And Facebook will say, okay, there are 45,000 people that fit all those demographics, that area, that age range, those interests. If you pay us $20, we will show your ad to 2,000 of those people. If you pay us $100, we'll pay you 10,000. There'll be a range like that. And you just say, awesome, great, and then you send you send your ad out to them. But they don't tell you, they're not like, okay, there are 45,000 people who fit that, here are their names. Like, you never see those people unless your ad specifically is lead gen, and your ad asks them for that information, and they fill it out willingly for you. Does that make sense? It's never a case of, Facebook, here's my money, Facebook goes, great, here's that Excel file of 100 new clients. If you remember the big, it was the Cambridge Analytica thing from last year, which was the big Facebook data thing. Again, that was where it kind of came up a lot, was Facebook selling your data. What was happening there was the ad that this company was doing was a personality profile. So you click on the ad and you fill out all of these questions about yourself, including your contact info, and that's how they were getting that person's information. So not that there was no fault on Facebook from other aspects of it, but that's one thing I like to clear up is that first of all, if you're on Facebook, people aren't your data's not being sold, but your profile is being used to get ads for you, to you. And I don't think I have this on here anymore. I think I took a slide out, but we'll see if I get to it eventually. But the idea in a perfect world is I see, when I'm scrolling on Facebook or Instagram, I see ads for things that I'm interested in. So I buy those things, and I don't see ads for things that I don't care about. And again, that's the perfect world scenario that we don't live in, but that's what they're going for. So, maybe there's flies all over what the heck? Where is it move on? So, statistics. There are going to be 2 things we're going to talk about, which are like anecdotal things that as we go on, but also there's data just to back up a lot of this. And I think that's where, we'll talk about video a lot, either today or next week. And people, they love to fight me when it comes to video because they don't want to be on camera. Some agents get really nervous about showing their face, about what they have to say, and we have a lot of stuff to kind of go over that. But ultimately, one of the stats that I always use is that video generates 1,200% more shares than text and images combined when it comes to social media. It's 1,200, video, text and images combined, 1,200% more powerful. And if you're looking at, what is the best thing for me to do for my business objectively, and you hear stats like that, it's hard to argue with that because, that's data, that's studies. However, it's very easy to go, well, I still don't want to do it. And so I try to tell people, like, I'm here to help with all of that stuff, but ultimately, when it comes to Facebook stats, when it comes to this video stats, if you're worried about what's the best thing I can do, the best bang for my buck, the answers are here. It's just, are you going to take that step to do it? And sometimes the answer is yes, and sometimes the answer is no. So why Facebook? Why Facebook over other platforms is a big question I get a lot. So when we talk about social, we're generally going to be talking about, or focusing on, at least today and next week, Facebook and Instagram. The reason being is that Facebook, like I said up there, Facebook has all the puzzle pieces. So when you think about Craigslist, Facebook has their marketplace now. Including the puzzle pieces, if you're on Craigslist and you find a car that you're interested in, or literally anything, if I wanted to share it with my wife, I have to copy the link, and I know this sounds like first world problems. To copy the link, go to my email, paste the link, and send it to her and say, what do you think about this? And when I'm on my phone, I'm leaving Craigslist, or I'm in the weird Craigslist app, and then I'm going to my email, blah, blah, blah. And then if I go, okay, I'm going to contact this person, they make me use that really weird Craigslist email with a bunch of letters and numbers, and then I have to hope that they see it and email me back, blah, blah, blah. And then if I want to buy it, I have to just write a check or have cash or something, which is not the end of the world. If I'm on Facebook Marketplace and I see something I like, I can click the share button that's right on my screen, send it to her privately, say, what do you think? And then if we're interested, I can message the seller right there. And if it's something quick and easy, I can literally pay for it right there through Messenger. So I'm never leaving this single app the whole time. It's the same thing when it comes to business pages. Yelp is, everyone know what Yelp is? Been on Yelp before? Yelp generally is used for business hours, location, just the info. Time of, hours, location, menu, reviews. Those are kind of the big four things. The problem was that, psychologically, we don't go and leave mild reviews. If we had a really bad experience, we go leave a review. If we had a really good experience, we maybe go leave a review. But 9 times out of 10, if we're leaving a review, it's because we want to warn people about how crappy that restaurant was or how horrible that person treated you, right? So what happened is all of these restaurants or businesses on Yelp had overwhelmingly negative reviews. Even if they were the best place in town, the people who were the loudest voices were the ones who were angry. So that's why all of a sudden, 15 negative reviews, and those are the first ones you see. So Yelp started saying generally, hey, if you pay us $300 a month, we won't hide your negative ones, but we'll push your positive ones to the top of your page. People find out about that, people don't trust Yelp anymore. When you're on Facebook, you can look at reviews, you can leave a review, you can look at all this business stuff, again, all from one place. People love it. This is a weird trend, not a weird trend, it's a trend that some people do, some people don't. People check into restaurants from their phone, say, having a great meal at blah, blah, blah. You can do all of that from one screen. So Facebook, every time there has been something new that's come out, has anyone ever heard of Periscope? No, yes, okay. Periscope was a live streaming app that was released, was that source code? So I think like 2014, maybe 2015. And the idea was, hey, through Twitter, it was a new app, but it was partnered with Twitter. You could live stream wherever you are. If you're at Comic-Con, if you're at an event, if you're at home doing nothing, you can, celebrities can do Q&As with their fans. And Facebook said, that's a really cool idea, we're gonna do it better. And then they did Facebook Live. And Periscope is just about that now. And it's because Facebook, whenever they go up against something that is new, that is an innovative, Snapchat's the same thing with stories. Whenever they go up against something new, Facebook just comes in and does it better. It's a lot of tech companies that are like that, right? They don't come up with anything new, they just do it better. The only time Facebook wasn't able to beat a company was when Instagram came out, so they bought Instagram. So they still won at the end of the day. So Facebook has all of the puzzle pieces. Now, step number 2, the average American spends 40 minutes a day on Facebook. Now that does not mean that we sit down for 40 minutes and just scroll, but it means while we are waiting in line somewhere, while you're waiting for me to figure out the freaking computer, you're on Facebook real quick. 30 seconds here, 2 minutes there, that adds up over a day. I mean, one of my, I'll get more into this in a couple seconds. If you're at home watching TV and you are unlike us and you have cable still, the second a commercial comes on, your phone comes out, You scroll on Facebook, you check your email, the commercials are done, put your phone back down, and you start watching the show again. So that time adds up, 2.32 billion, not just profiles, monthly users as of late last year. Over 1.74 billion, so 87% of them are mobile, people using it almost directly on their phone. But here's where it comes down, like I said, talking about the business aspect of it. On average, and again, this fluctuates, it costs 6 to 10 cents for somebody to click on your ad. Not to see it, but to click on it. And then anywhere between $7 to $10 for 1,000 people to see your ad. And, actually, wait a second, so I'm not gonna go there. So, the customization is a huge part of it. I actually started running a Google AdWords campaign for our property a couple weeks ago, and it sucks. Because, if you get a Google ad is literally when you search something, the first 2 or 3 results are sponsored. You don't have any customization. You literally get, I think, 3 lines of text to work with. A headline, a subline, and a description. And you've got maybe 100 characters in each one, something silly like that. There's not a lot of room. First of all, there's not a lot of fun there because you're like, what words work best? With Facebook, you can do photos, you can do videos, you can do lead ads, you can do link, you can do just about anything. And the biggest thing with all this too is analytics. Now, that's when people start to get a little bit bogged down, and I don't think pay attention to those. I don't think people pay attention to those as much as they should. But analytics help you realize what your ads are doing. Is this ad connecting with people? Is this one, why is this one getting more clicks than the other? And if you don't analyze those, and I'm not saying look down and go, bless you, every single video and every single line or what to this, but all of a sudden you're gonna have 3 ads who, for $20 reach 2,000-3,000 people, and then your 4th one for $20 reaches 7,000 people. Okay, don't just go, well, that was really cool. Go, why did that happen? What about this ad made it go a little bit more viral? Why do people connect with this more? It allows you to also understand what groups of people are interested in your ads more than others. What I mean by that is, I have noticed, generally speaking, the people who click on real estate related ads are about 60 to 70% women and 30 to 40% men. Depending, again, that fluctuates on region. Florida is a bit more even, but Michigan especially, for whatever reason, the ads themselves were clicked on by far more women than men. So then you can go, okay, maybe I can tailor my images, tailor my copy, the text that I'm writing towards that a little bit. Not breaking any fair housing rules and saying what a great home for women, but appealing to anything that makes sense in that category. So what these ads allow you to do, what the analytics allow you to do, are see what's going on and then try to play off of that. Demographics. So this is one thing I get a lot of that I wanted to cover is when not everybody's on Facebook. Or the flip of that is only millennials are on Facebook, so it's not worth it. Those are both just blatantly false statements, but for the record, let's just pretend that millennials are the only ones on Facebook. Nobody over the age of 39 is on Facebook. So first of all, let's talk about what defines a millennial. I hate that word so much. It's going to change depending on which graph, which company, which chart you're looking at, but generally, millennials start from 1980, and I normally see 1980 through 1999. 2000 is where I've seen Gen Z kind of be, but again, it's a very big line. So millennials are just about 40 now, first of all, which is a pretty prime home buying age. These are stats from NAR. These are the 2017 stats, and I haven't updated to 2018, but it's gone up even more. 1/3 of the entire home buying market is 36 and younger. Right now, the median age of home buyer is 44, which is just over the tip of millennial. But the bigger thing right down here, millennials make up the largest group of first-time home buyers at 66%. So 2/3 of all first-time home buyers, people who are generally going to have the longer, the more transaction in real estate as time goes on, 2/3 of them are millennials. So in a world where millennials and younger are the only ones on social media, do you really want to cut out a marketing tactic, a marketing platform that caters to the people who are going to be in real estate the longest from here on out? A platform that reaches 1/3 of all home buyers. But additionally, and probably even more important, this is a lot of words. The main point that I like to put out are these 3 stats right here, which basically says of every single demographic, from Gen Z to, I think it'll be baby boomers, if of all the people in that generation who use the internet, the majority of them have an active Facebook profile. So what I mean is 56% of US online users 65 and older use Facebook. And that 56% only gets bigger, 79%, 82% of 18 to 29-year-olds in the US use Facebook if they use the internet. So this idea that only millennials are on Facebook just isn't true. All generations are on Facebook. Now, what I start to get a little frustrated with is the anecdotes of people saying, I had one agent tell me, well, the agent was in his 50s, and he goes, well, my grandma's not on Facebook. And I'm like, how old is her? And he's like, she's in her early 90s. And I was like, that's great. First of all, congrats to her for being healthy 90-some years. Secondly, not everybody is on any platform. There's going to be no marketing place where you can reach everybody. If there is, I'd really like to know about it because it'd make my job a lot easier. But radio, billboards, television, newspaper, especially that's the big one, paper, print, not any platform reaches every group. So the question starts to become, where can you reach the most people for the best bang for your buck? Most people, least amount of money. And social media starts to become that answer. I'd say, in almost every case that I've seen, also this is a fun stat, I know, all over the place. 72% of online users of income more than 75K are on Facebook. So this is kind of a tangent, but one thing I get a lot is that luxury does not work on social media. Luxury properties, they just don't work. They're harder to sell, but that's because they're a luxury property. It's not because of the platform, it's because of the property itself. We have plenty of luxury properties that have been shown and sold because of our digital magazine Facebook ads, because of actual just videos that people do for their listings. And again, that audience, I know that 75K does not mean that you can buy $500,000, $700,000 home, but the affluent audience is online and they do interact with real estate ads. So this is a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk. Have you ever heard of Gary V before? Yeah, okay, cool. So he is a digital media marketing entrepreneur, big shot, whatever you want to call him. Does a lot of press conferences, keynote speeches around the world. In the mid to late 90s, he took his parents' wine business from 4 to 40 million in 4 years because of online newsletters, email newsletters. So we get probably too many email newsletters. You probably have like 3 since we started this class. 20 years ago, that was not a thing. Email newsletters were new, and he went all in on his dad put him in charge of marketing or whatever. 4 to 40 million, almost purely because of email newsletter, because nobody else was doing it, and it was different. A coupon right in your email that you could go online and use. And he's only, gone bigger since then. But I was talking about this a little bit earlier. There are hundreds of papers, articles, and video tutorials that will teach you how to create Facebook ads. Like I said, how to do it. It can be pretty simple, but what will determine whether yours work or not will be how much time you spend listening to your consumers, engaging what contests will speak best to them. The only way to figure that out is to experiment and see what happens. So like I said, you can learn how to do the things really easily. It's an instructional guide, right? Here are the 6 steps you need to follow to do this thing. But if you don't pay attention to what that thing does after you've done it, then you're not getting any value out of it. If you do, and I'm not saying this facetiously, I've had agents do lead gen ads on Facebook specifically to drive leads to their listings to leads or through Facebook, and then they don't follow up with the leads. And I'm thinking, if you just spend how much money to get anywhere between 20 and 100 leads come in through your platform, and you're not responding to them, what is the point of doing lead gen if you're not going to respond to leads? What is the point? This is also another Grand Haven case. Thankfully, it wasn't one of our agents, but just because you know how to post it into a Facebook group doesn't mean that you can just do it and walk away. There was an agent from another competing brokerage who wanted, like those community groups like Holland Informed and Grand Haven Informed. He had posted in Grand Haven Informed one of his new listings. New listing, blah, 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 posted it, walked away. Within, I think, 2 or 3 hours, there were 3 or 4 nasty comments. A couple of them were just the average, like, this is overpriced, blah, blah, blah. But one of them said, this guy sucks, I wouldn't sell a doghouse with him. And he did not look at that post until one of our agents, who was a friend of his, 3 days later was like, dude, you need to go look at that post because people are like ragging on you publicly on this group. 3 days those comments had stayed up before he went in there and deleted the post. The moderators didn't do anything because it wasn't against group rules. So my point is, don't just put something up, go, great, that was really cool, and then walk away, because people will trash you if you're, or they will, especially if they're asking questions, you need to respond to those questions. If you post a video, an ad for a listing, and people start writing in the comments, how do I blah, 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 or, tell me about the kitchen, and you just leave them hanging. Again, that is sort of a lead that you're letting hang out there. I have one of our agents in this office actually, he's very, very successful on Facebook, and he says that he treats a Facebook notification like a work email from his business page, because that's what it is to him. If he's sitting there and he gets a, so-and-so commented on your post, he's gonna go look at it right away, either like it, respond to it, or contact that person directly. Because that could be a potential lead. It could be a potential client or a potential referral if you interact with that person properly. So we're gonna watch a quick little 2-minute video, and I'm gonna show you, well, let me just explain what we're gonna watch real quick, hopefully. Where did she possibly put it? Right here. So Gary, one thing I would also caution you to be cautious about is there are a lot of realtors on YouTube who think that they have social media figured out. And it's, JD, Realtor with Global Bankers YouTube channel, and it's all these tips on the best way to do things and blah, blah, blah. But they don't actually have any experience in digital marketing. They struck gold once, and now they find that it's gospel. And the other flip of that is there's a lot of people who know a lot about digital marketing, but don't know a lot about real estate. So first, my main point is, sort of be careful on the content that you're kind of taking. I've had some agents go, I gotta do a green screen video, take a look at this video. And it was horrible. Like, the floor was uneven. They grew as they got close. It was this really weird video, but they were sold that it was the new best thing. And I'm like, I promise you that objectively, if you post a video like this, it's not going to go well. So take in other opinions, but Gary did is there heard of Inman, INMAN? They're a real estate journal, website, blog, stuff like that. They have a conference every year where real estate marketers get together and brokers and agents, blah, blah, blah. And a couple of years ago, Gary was the keynote speaker there. And he did I think it was about 55 to 60-minute keynote speech specifically about social media marketing in real estate. And it is a really great watch. I have a link to it that I'll show you where you can watch the entire thing if you have free time. I mean, even 10 minutes at a time here and there. But I made a little compilation about a 2-minute clip that I want to walk through. And the kind of guy that Gary is he's the kind of person, and I try to adopt this mentality too, is you can sit in a room of 100 people, give a presentation about the 3 things you have to do to be successful, and they could be objective. No matter what, if you do these 3 things, you'll make $100,000 this year, and one person will walk away and do it. He's the kind of guy who will lay out his entire business model, business plan, because he knows that, first of all, it's helpful, but secondly, not everyone's going to do it. And so, because lack of motivation, etc. So, and as an example of that, the reason I found out about the speech originally was I saw an ad from Facebook, from Inman, that said, click here to watch Gary Vaynerchuk's keynote speech at Inman Connect for only $1, because they have a subscription thing. So it's it's your first week for $1. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's well worth it for me, $1. But then I was like, I wonder if Gary also has this video somewhere. So I went to his YouTube channel. He had the entire thing uploaded for free right there on YouTube. I don't even think it was monetized, so it wasn't even like an ad. So every keynote speech he does, every series, it's all available to watch. So I want to watch this little 2-minute clip about Facebook, I guess. Do we need to turn the lights off? You guys can see it okay? The screen? Yeah. Hopefully the volume is loud enough. Oh yeah, it's so good you can't even hear it. Come on, TV. Don't do this to me now. Whoops. All right. People continue to put out content. All right, 30 seconds. It's worth it. That's why I'm making sure this happens. Perfect.
People continue to put out content that is in a high percentage in their best interest and not in the value of the end user. I am still baffled by why the real estate industry on an individual broker level does not realize that they need to become the digital mayor of their town. It's hard work. And the reality is that a lot of people are just not willing to put in the work. The quicker you understand in this room that you are a media company, comma, real estate agent, real estate software provider, whatever you may be, everything fundamentally changes. If you decide that you, not the local newspaper, is going to be the provider of the content of the best restaurants, reviewing the school system, and every other nook and cranny in the 2, 4, 6, and 8 towns that you live in, you fundamentally start bringing value to end users. You then become synonymous with the town. You become the media entity. You become the person that fundamentally has the attention. And what comes out of that, and this is very important to understand, is your ability then to market yourself at a greater sense, because the content is dramatically more viral in the #1 platform that everybody should be spending all their time on, which is Facebook. You're gonna go into excuse mode right now. I don't have the time. I didn't grow up with this. I love when people come up to me like, Gary, this technology, I know it's important, but you gotta bear with me. I didn't grow up with this. And I'm always like, that's fine, Stan, but you didn't grow up driving and you figured it out. The fact that you didn't grow up with this is not an excuse. Love that.
So what he gets at there is, as we shift gears away from why Facebook is our end goal with this. So when it comes to marketing, my philosophy, modeled very heavily off of his, is value. I can see 30 advertisements throughout. I can take in 30 advertisements throughout the day, through Spotify ads, through Facebook ads, through billboards, through ads in a magazine, whatever. I can see dozens of ads a day, probably more than we realize, right? Technically, I mean, if I'm not actually wearing anything branded, but if I was wearing like an Adidas shirt and it said Adidas, that's my marketing, right? By me wearing it and you seeing it, that's marketing. So the question starts to become is what makes an effective ad, and especially when it comes to social and digital marketing, it is what value does this advertisement provide me as a consumer? What do I get out of this? Sometimes realtors have the stigma. I saw a crazy stat, it was yesterday, it was from Century 21, and it said something like 60% of Americans say they trust casino mobsters more than realtors. It wasn't mobsters, but it was something where it's like casino brokers more than realtors. People sometimes have an untrust of realtors. They oftentimes have that used car salesman kind of persona or mindset about them, that they really want to push you to buy this home, blah, blah, blah. And I can go on Facebook and see an ad that says, work with me, I'm the best realtor you need, right? I can get the job done. It's like, okay, I hope you can get the job done, that's your job. But like, what do I get out of this? Why should I work with you? Whereas if I see an ad that, even for a lead gen ad that says, what is your home worth? Do you want a free home evaluation? That already is me getting something out of that. So that's one thing with lead gen too, people are always like, why won't they give me, I want people to give me their information, their phone number, their email. And I say, okay, why should they do it? Well, so then they can go on my newsletter. I don't want to go on another newsletter. I'm on 30 that, like I said, as is. Why would I want to just go on a newsletter so you can have my information? I'm not clicking on that ad. But if that ad says, click here and get a free home evaluation of what your property could be worth in this seller's market, and I can go in, fill out a form, and all of a sudden I've got an email saying my home is worth $160,000, $180,000. I'm interested. Now I'm getting something out of it, and you have my information too, because I signed up for your form. So the question starts to become, if I interact, look, view your ad, what do I get out of it as a consumer? And as soon as we start thinking in those terms, our advertising, our content becomes very, very effective. So, like I click onto the video, value is key. He's speaking strongly as a digital marketer, and that's this mindset that is very effective. Is you need to think of yourself as a media company to a degree. You're a small business. You're not just a realtor who does transactions. You're running your own small business, and part of that is marketing. Part of that is content creation. And one of the biggest pushbacks I get regarding social media is that it can be time consuming. you have to post yourself. You shouldn't be working with a company that just posts your page automatically. And honestly, like there's not really much fight back for that. I would say it gets easier the more you do it. And this is a very vague way of putting it, or yes, a subjective way to say it, but like I think the more you do it, the more fun it gets, and the easier it is for you to do, especially with video. The more video you do, the better you're going to get at it, and the more enjoyment you'll hopefully find out of it. But it is time consuming. It is hard to continuously come up with content. But what it all boils down to is he's got a whole book on this if you're interested in it. But the marketing philosophy is called jab, 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 right hook. The idea is that a jab is the value you provide your clients, you provide your audience. Whether that is, and this is not just Facebook, by the way, this is marketing, across the board. The good things you do. Hey, we're doing an Adopt a Pet event at our office Thursday, the 18th or whatever. Hey, here's a fruit basket. Thank you so much for working with me. It was, your a closing gift or something like that. But also just information you put out on Facebook. So when we talk about content in a little bit, we'll talk about posting local content, posting interesting articles that might not be directly real estate related, but are related to home and to life and to the area. So one of the things that our Highland page does is that at one of the parks downtown, they do like a movie in the park. Movie in the park every week, where they have a big screen up, they'll show like Star Wars or something like that. And every week we'll post, hey, don't forget Wednesday night movie night, and here's the movie that they're showing this week. Now, is everybody going to be interested in that every single time? No. But every once in a while, I might be scrolling and go, oh shoot, they are playing Star Wars then. Maybe I will go down for that one. Or you'll see a piece of information. There was one that we posted. There was in Grand Rapids, there is an edible cookie dough store opening soon, where it's like froyo, you just go in and get scoops of cookie dough, which is dangerous, I think, to a degree. But I'm sure they find it out a little bit. But that's the kind of thing where you want to go, that's interesting. Like maybe you don't learn anything out of it, but you see Coldwell Banker, Woodham Schmidt Holland, and you see the content and you get value out of it. So jabs are the value that you provide, and this is, I don't know if I put it up here, the jabs are the value you provide without expecting anything in return. That is the key part there, is that I was explaining about content once in my agent said, well, why am I posting these articles? What does that get me? And it's like, well, already you're out of the right mindset. If you're only thinking, every single thing that I do needs to directly benefit me, then I'm not going to care about your ads at all. I'm not going to follow your page. I'm not going to care about what you're posting because it doesn't have anything to do with me. You just want to be successful, which, listen, everybody in this room wants to be successful. I get that. But if you're not worried about taking care of your clients or providing value to them, it's not going to go as easily. The right hook, jab, 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 right hook, the right hook is the ask. This is like going in for the kill. Hey, if you have any referrals, let me know. I'd love to work with them. Hey, I'd love for you to sign up. I'd love to, whatever it is, you're directly telling them, this is what I need you to do. And the reason why it's jab, 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 right hook is because it's generally a 3 or 4 to 1 ratio of how often you should be providing value versus asking for it. Because if all you do is right hook over and over, that's where the pushy realtor comes in. That's where I go, I don't really want to work with this person. But if all you do is jab, people forget what you're doing. We had a realtor come to me and one of their managers once. We had a 3-10 meeting, and they just said, it's weird, like my friends are buying and selling over realtors. And not like peripheral friends, like my good friends. And I'm with them a lot, but they're still doing it. And so the manager's like, okay, well, what are you doing with these people? How are you interacting? She goes, well, we go out boating a lot, we go out drinking a lot. And it's probably those main 2 things. And we're like, okay, do you ever even bring up real estate? You're not saying you have to be giving your cards to your friends every time you go out, but do you ever bring it up? She's like, no, I never really talk about it. Well, at the end of the day, real estate is a public profession. And to a degree, not that you have to be arrogant or braggy, but you do need to tell people what you do. And if you are not constantly or even periodically reminding people that you are a realtor, they're going to forget. So it's important to, and there are very subtle ways to do it, but remind people this is what you do. And hey, if you have any referrals, send them my way because I'd love to help out and take care of your friends like I've hopefully taken care of you. So this is why we post content. If you're constantly right hooking, people will get frustrated. You need to give your audience value, not just yourself. That's not that important. I will do that in a minute. Okay. So we're going to go into a little bit how to create a page, how to physically create a Facebook page, It's not gonna be that long, I'm not gonna spend that much time on this part because it is pretty self-explanatory. Did Jody go over Schmidt resources earlier today? Okay, that will be one of your best resources, full stop. Well, here, it has just about everything that you could need. Where does she have Chrome? I don't know. There we go. So we're gonna go to Schmidt resources real quick. And on Schmidt resources, if you click on the Michigan tab, let's scroll down a little bit. If you click on Michigan, the top bar has your marketing resources, I'm sure Jody went over all the designers, everybody on the team. But the second row, the very first square, you're looking for the face, video and social media. This goes over, first of all, it has a bunch of stuff, but this goes over everything that we're gonna talk about now. There was an entire series of videos on. You can also look at any other trainings that we have. So if you click on this first one here, the Schmidt Video Classroom. This bottom series, you can see this one has social media tips. This is a 16 video series where the longest video is 2 minutes. Generally, they're about 60 to 90 seconds that all show you how to do one thing on Facebook. So we're gonna talk about this stuff for the next 20, 30 minutes, but then you're gonna go, oh shoot, I forgot how to do that one thing. And instead of watching an entire long 60-minute webinar trying to scroll to find that right point where I talk about that one thing, you can go to this place. You can go to this place and go, how did I do my username? What is a Facebook username? And you can click that little video right here, and you can watch a 60-second video about what a username is.
Hey everyone, welcome back to your social media tip video.
What it is and how to change it and what the value of that is. So there's a lot of resources in terms of how to do it, but honestly, when it comes to making a Facebook page, I don't even know if she's signed in here. Let's see. Nope. So when you're making a Facebook page, we'll just go to the first video, this right here. You're literally just going to sign in. Oh, that's something I should mention. In order to have a business page, you have to have a personal page on Facebook. Once you've created your business page, they're basically separate. So it's not like people can find your personal information, can find your personal profile. You just have to have a personal page in order to create a business one. Short of that, they're completely separate. They're not going to merge unless you start posting stuff on each one. But the question I get a lot too is, why do I need a business page? Why isn't my personal page good enough? And there are two parts to that answer. One of them is compliance and one of them is marketing. So when you look at a personal page on Facebook, you have your name, your information about you, your birthday and all that kind of stuff. A business page is just inherently built different than a personal page. Actually, I wonder if I have that in any of the slides over here. They are, yeah, I don't. They're built different. You cannot run ads from a personal page, just straight up. If you want to do an advertisement on Facebook, you have to have a personal page to create an audience to put that ad out there. Additionally, there's a lot of business information. So on a business page, it allows you to have your address, your business phone number, a button that lets people call you or message you. It's built to be for a business. It's built to be a profile for a business versus a personal page. So, I'd say one of my biggest pet peeves is an agent who doesn't want to do anything. I've had conversations with agents who are like, I don't want to do Facebook. I don't think it works out, whatever. I'm like, all right, that's totally your choice. You don't have to do it. It's up to you. And then 3-4 months later, they're like, I have a property. It's not selling. I want to do a Facebook ad for it because I need to do something for it. And they don't have a Facebook page set up, and they want to go to an ad right off the bat. This is why we talk about ads next week, is because there's so much other stuff to do to set up a page, to get people on the page, to get a good page going before you can just run an ad for it from it. So that's why we do all this setup. That's why we do all this stuff, as opposed to just, yep, here's how you run an ad, and what's out there. So, but the other reason is compliance. So real estate law, in terms of advertising, has not caught up with, I'd probably say, even the 20th century, but especially social media and Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. Basically, the two lines that we have that govern real estate marketing or advertising says along the lines of, any piece of advertising must have the broker's logo of equal or greater size than your logo, and have the company's phone number or address. That is the only law we have governing advertising. So it's very gray. and it's not very clear, but the one thing that is clear is that every piece of advertisement needs to have that information attached. So technically speaking, if you were to post a listing from your personal page, just, hey, check out my new listing at blah, 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 you would have to say in that text, check out my new listing, open house Saturday from 12 to 2. I'm a licensed realtor with Coldwell Banker, Woodland Schmidt, 466-8623, Pelham, Michigan, 49423, and then the number. And have the logo attached somewhere on every single post. You're gonna see this more often, way more often than you should. People are gonna post listings to their personal page. Other realtors are. They're not necessarily gonna be malicious about it. They're not trying to break the law or anything. But if we're being, a narc, they're all against the rules unless they have all of that information specifically there. On a business page, the way that we as a brand and as a company have interpreted the rules, and we've got Tracy's backing on this and everything, is that on your business page, it needs to say somewhere that you are a licensed realtor with your DBA, which would either be Coldwell Banker, Woodland Schmidt, or Coldwell Banker, AJS Schmidt, in Michigan, in Western Michigan, in Holland, Michigan, something like that. Your page needs to clearly state that. We're almost word for word. I'm a licensed realtor with Coldwell Banker, Woodland Schmidt, in Holland, Michigan. And then have a bunch of other information, of course, but that at the very least. And after that, everything you post on that page is okay. You don't have to write that every single time. We kind of, based off of a couple documents from boards that we've gotten, not to really get into the weeds, but the thing that sucks even more is that like those two advertising lines are like Michigan law, I think, and the state has left it up to the boards to interpret and enforce, and every board does it differently. So WinLAR is generally pretty chill about it. Like if they're doing something really bad, they'll report it, and Dale will send you an email like, hey, cut that out, or you'll get a little slap on the wrist. But there's GRAR is a little bit more intense, and then like I forget, it's like Waterworks, whatever the heck, up in like the Gaylord area up in northern Michigan. They are like hammered down on all of this stuff. So every board enforces it differently, which makes our job across 4 regions, Michigan, Ohio, Florida, and the Virgin Islands, more difficult. However, our interpretation is that the information needs to be on your business page. And if it's on the page, anything you post, bless you, is okay as long as it's from your business page. So I can post a new listing and say, check out my new property at 123 Main Street. I'm doing an open house from Saturday from 12 to 2. And if you click on my page where it says JDW Real Estate, and you go back and you see that information on there, you're covered. Does that make sense? So part of it really is, I'm going to try to, hold on, I'm going to sign in Facebook, which I got to be able to show this stuff. Part of this literally is compliance, like state law. If you're going to post to your personal page, you need to say that stuff. So of course I have 2-factor authentication on, which is good, but it's just annoying when you know it's you. All right, yes, continue, this was me, save browser. Okay, so, we're gonna take a look at personal page and a business page. So, like I said, personal page right here, right? Post that I post, information about me on the left. You can scroll down and see my posts. If you go to my business page, now the page that I'm going to show you right now, is a test page. I use it only for instructional purposes. Do not go like the page. I don't know why there are 70 likes on it, but there are.
I love it.
Looks pretty similar in terms of setup, right? A little bit of information here, post down the middle, cover photo, profile photo, etc. But you'll notice a couple of things here. First of all, on the left-hand side, or sorry, on the right-hand side, you've got business information. Here's my address, here's my phone number, and then what was the other thing? Oh yeah, the about section, which we're going to show. So, in order to create a business page, if you were trying to do it, I'm just going to go to my newsfeed and hope my rear pops up. Good. So, if you wanted to create a business page, you would log into Facebook. Now, you can do all of this from mobile, but this is personal preference. I like doing this stuff from a desktop just because I like to have it laid out in front of me. If you don't have a business page yet, I would recommend watching and maybe taking notes on what we're doing, but not following along just yet, and I'll explain why in a couple of steps. So you're gonna log in, and right up here across the top, there's a button that says Create in the upper right-hand corner. You're gonna click Create, and you're gonna click Page, the next option. Create a page. It's gonna take you somewhere. Business or brand is what we're gonna pick, because that's what we are. Page name, one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make in your life. What is your page going to be called, right? The only rule really that we have about this is that it needs to clearly state that it is you. Meaning, I could do JD Wolfvogel with Coldwell Banker Woodland Schmidt. I could do JD Wolfvogel, real estate agent. I could do JD Wolfvogel sells houses. I can do anything like that. What I shouldn't do is like Holland area homes or West Michigan lifestyles. Unless that is literally your team name, which I don't think it is for anyone in this room. Basically what that boils down to is false advertising. We've had agents within our company who are no longer with our company and outside of the company who will create a page like that to try to trick people into thinking that it's a community page that posts a lot of listings all over the area, but in reality, it's just their listings all the time. That is the one rule we have in terms of pages, that the page name needs to accurately represent you. It does not need to say Coldwell Banker Woodland Schmidt in the title, but my 2 cents is that it should. The only other rule is that you cannot technically say JD Wolfvogel with Coldwell Banker. You have to say Coldwell Banker, AJS Schmidt, or Woodland Schmidt. The reason being is that Coldwell Banker is a different entity. It's a different legal company that you don't technically work for. It gets into the weeds, but you would have to say something like JD Wolfvogel, Coldwell Banker, Woodland Schmidt. Short and simple. I don't personally, again, this does start to come down to personal preference. I don't think it needs to be showy or something catchy, like a funny little, play on words. I would just do your name and what you do. You want it to be clear when people look at your ads, when people see your posts, what it is they're interacting with. So JD Wolfvogel, Coldwell Banker, Woodland Schmidt, or I could do JD Wolfvogel Realtor, or just real estate agent. Needs a category. Start typing the word real estate agent pops up right away. Click on that. Address and phone number. Address needs to be your office address. This is one of those legal things. Like I said, every advertisement needs to have the company office address or phone number. This needs to be your office's address. I've had some people say, well, I work out of Grand Rapids office, but I kind of want to do the Jenison area. Is it okay if I put a Jenison address? No, it has to be the office that you operate out of. So 466 East 16th Street. Holland, Michigan, 423. So just put your number in. You probably should be your cell number. I mean, most of us don't have office numbers anymore, but this is the number people are going to be able to click on when they are on your profile, and you want to be able to get in touch with them as fast as you can. So after you click continue, I'm not going to because then it would create a page that I have to then delete a little bit. I don't want to have to go through that again. The next 2 things they're going to ask you for are your profile picture and your cover photo. Profile picture is this one. Cover photo is this one. The profile picture is far, far more important because that is, just like your personal page, that is what is attached to everything that you do. Every post that goes out, every ad that you run, that's the photo that will be attached right up there in the corner, etc. So the cover photo is important because it does need to have the company logo on there, and that's where the marketing team comes into play. I'll get into that in a second, but you only see the cover photo if you're on somebody's page, on mobile or desktop. The profile picture is seen everywhere, anything that has to do with your account. So your profile picture should be a headshot or a good photo of you. It does not need to be suit and tie. This is what I always kind of say is your headshot, your profile picture should reflect who you are. If you're not a suit and tie kind of person, don't be in a suit and tie in your headshot. Because I want to meet the person who I'm seeing. If I start seeing video content you do and looking at your Facebook page and you're wearing, a plaid shirt and like a puffy Michigan vest, that's the kind of person I feel like I'm going to meet. And then all of a sudden you show up in a 3-piece suit, I'm already thrown for a loop because that's not the person I thought you were. And vice versa. If you're wearing a really nice suit in your profile picture, but then you show up in shorts and a polo, people are just going to go, it's one of those things, it's not wrong at all, but those are different people. Those are different ideas I have in my head of somebody. So your headshot should reflect who you are, which is a very vague statement, but an important one. So have your headshot ready here. This is why I said don't do it right now, because if you don't have a headshot yet, you're not going to have a profile picture to put there. And then the cover photo. So the cover photo should have your company's DBA on it. This will show the logo on the page. That will put you in compliance the way we understand it. So if you have, there are kind of two options. Either talk with the marketing team, we have a subscription to a couple of stock photo websites, and just say, hey, I'm looking for a photo of like a nice summer lake and people on a boat on a lake. Or I'm looking for a nice luxury home that I want to put the thing on. Can you make it that the cover photo size with the Woodland Schmidt logo? They'll say, yeah, absolutely. They'll size it correctly for you. You can tell it's a weird kind of elongated shape. They'll size it correctly. They'll put the logo on. They'll take care of it for you. Or maybe you have a photo that you like. It's a property that you listed that you want to use as a photo. Maybe it's a nice one of your dogs or something like that you want to put up there. You can send them a photo and say, hey, can you put the Woodland Schmidt logo on this? I need it for Facebook. So you can provide them a photo and they'll edit it for you, or they can find a photo for you as well. But the DBA should be on here. Next two things they're going to do when you're creating your page. Number one is they're going to ask you for a username. A username, if I zoom in a little bit here, the username is what appears right underneath the page name. They serve two different purposes. This is a bad example. Let me actually get to a better one for you. Baker, Woodland, Schmidt, Holland. So, username does two things. One of them is that it's what people use on Facebook to tag your page. So if you're gonna say it was a great time working with JD Waldvogel Realtor, instead of having to type in JD Waldvogel Realtor, which nobody will ever be able to type in correctly, they can just type in my username and that will help populate my name. Oftentimes, like I said on the page that we were just looking at on the test page, your page name and your username might be the same thing, JDW Real Estate. In cases where they're not, an example where it's not is right here. The page name is Coldwell Banker Woodland Schmidt Holland. Well, that's a pretty long username to have to remember. So we shorten it to just be CBWS Holland. So that's why if you have to tag the page, you only have to type in CBWS Holland, CBWS Muskegon, as opposed to writing the whole thing out. But the more important thing to me is that when you create a username, it becomes the back end of your Facebook link. So what I mean by that is if you have a page created right now and you don't have a username, let's just say it was JD Waldvogel Realtor, the link to your page would be facebook.com/pages/JD-Waldvogel-Realtor- about a string of 12 numbers. That is not easy to put on a business card. That is not easy to tell somebody to type in or to copy and paste. But you put a username in here, CBWS Holland, all of a sudden, if we look up here in the URL, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but the link to this page is facebook.com/CBWS Holland. The link to my other page, facebook.com/JDW Real Estate. It is short, it is simple, it is easy to remember. That is part of what a username does. It becomes the back end of your Facebook link. And if you don't have business cards yet, or if you're going to redo your business cards down the road, I always recommend to you to put your Facebook on your business card. Have the little Facebook, and I think the new forms actually have that information as a space to fill out. But have the little Facebook symbol /JDW Real Estate so people can find you online. Our old Discovery business cards had like our contact info on the front. On the back, it was like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram with the icons and then our usernames, and it looked really cool. So whatever you put in for your username will become the back end of your website. It does not need to directly be a one-for-one version of it like mine is here, JDW Real Estate, but it should be close. Maybe my page name is JD Waldvogel Realtor, but I just do for my username JDW Realtor. Like all I'm doing is shortening my last name. So, but what I don't want to see is your page name is JD Waldvogel Sells Homes, or JD Waldvogel Realtor, but your thing says JD Waldvogel Sells Houses. Because all of a sudden those are both long and they're also kind of sending mixed messages, like you're not being consistent with your marketing. So make sure that you pick something that's pretty short, not too overwhelming, but also is consistent with what you've been doing. Does that make sense? Okay. Any questions, by the way, anything that I skimmed over that you want more explanation on, or I just skipped completely? Okay. The last big thing you're going to have to do to set up a page is you're going to click on this About section right here. On the left-hand side, it says About, and you're going to fill this out. So you're going to fill out basically as much information as you possibly can. When you go here, you go, I don't have a email, I don't have a website. I did put and I cut these blank just to show you that all you have to do, click on your website, type in the website, maybe I do www.cbgreatlakes. links.com, I click save.
So I can come and see you and we can fix mine.
Yeah, what's wrong with it?
I don't even know if I ever did any of that stuff back when I set it up years ago.
Sure, so yeah, well, and that's the thing, if you
And
were
then
to
with the
click on it-
changes, I don't know.
Yeah, so let's take a look at it then, and we can fill in what's missing
I'm
or.
looking thinking, I think I covered in that part.
Yeah, well, and this is the thing, this is ultimately a pretty important section because this is where people find your, like, how do I get in touch with this person? And one of the things that I kind of pulled over from the YouTube background is like, you never know where you're gonna strike gold. You never know where that next lead is gonna come in. We did a video, this happened all the time, we would do a video, we'd post on our YouTube channel, and in 24 hours, we had like 3 million subscribers, so it was a big, big entity. Within 24 hours, it would have 24,000 views. We would do that same video, same copy, same everything on Facebook. 24 hours later, you'd have 3 million views. Sometimes something would take off on Twitter. Sometimes something would take off on Instagram, right? You never fully know where your next lead is going to come from. And translating that here, this person might want to message you through Facebook Messenger. They might want to call you. They might want to email you. Have all that information available for them so they have those options. 9 times out of 10, they probably will just use the send message button at the top to send you a Facebook message. But if somebody is, clients are very particular people. Maybe there is somebody who's regimentally like, all I do is email, or all I do is talk on the phone. Have those options out there for them to try to do, to call you, to email you, etc. So fill out all of this additional contact info. That being said, if we scroll down here, you'll see a bunch of stuff that's really uninteresting and unuseful, like add menu, edit public transit. I'm a realtor, I don't have public transit to my office, right? If you leave these blank, like I obviously have, if I go to your page as a visitor, it's not gonna say no menu or no public transit, it just won't show up. So some of these things here, maybe you do have some awards that you wanna add, that'd be awesome. Maybe, founding date, impressive, don't worry about anything like that. Just make sure you fill out that pertinent, mainly the contact info, right? CB Great Lakes, website, your email, stuff like that. The other part of this, like I said, is the about section, your bio, making sure that you have, first of all, that line that says, I am a licensed realtor with Coldwell Banker AJ Schmidt in Grand Rapids, Michigan. There are 2 places to do that. One is literally called the about section, which is where I'm circling right here. One's called your story section. Your about section, the main difference is that the about section is like 250 characters max. It's like a tweet, basically. Whereas your story section, you can write paragraphs. You can see there's a photo up there. You can do a lot more with it. Neither is wrong. I know you're phrase that with less negatives. Either of them is correct, right? But it has to be on one of those. And I would honestly, I'd recommend filling out both, because again, most people might not read the bio, but someone might click on that and kind of get to know you a little bit. And this is where I like to get on my soapbox about bios on websites. And this is not just for Facebook, this is across the board. Your bio is supposed to give me an idea of who you are. That by the end of reading 3 paragraphs, 3 lines or whatever, I know a little bit more about you. And if all your bio says is JD is a licensed real estate professional, he cares for his clients and makes sure to get the job done. Well, I hope so. You're a realtor. That's your job, is to take care of me as a client and get the job done. And secondly, most bios I read are going to say that same thing. JD is a great realtor. Jeanette is a realtor who has done this. Tom is a realtor, blah, blah. I want to know who you are. I want to get to know you a little bit more. So my first tip is always, this, and again, this is opinion, right? This is a professional opinion, but take it or leave it. I always recommend writing in first person, especially online. When it's Facebook, when it's Instagram, I want to feel like I am connecting to you. We kind of live in this new wave of experiential experiences where people, especially millennials, and there's a lot of studies that have been done that I read a couple trainings on recently, but people look for experiences more than they look for products nowadays. They want to have a relationship with somebody. They want to have walked away from something, having a cool experience, as opposed to, I want to go to the concert and experience the concert versus just have a t-shirt, right? I want to feel something. And part of that is the relationship they build. So if I'm reading a bio and it's all in third person, I feel like I'm reading the back of your author bio on the back of your book. But if I see, I have done this, I'm interested in this, blah, 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 I'm going to get to know you a little bit more. And by the time I meet you, I feel like I know you, even incrementally. So You'll notice on my about section, the short one, again, this kind of copied. I'm a licensed realtor with Coldwell Banker Woodland Schmidt in the state of Michigan. I got it out of the way, I got my legality stuff done, I'm in compliance. Love my family, my dogs, I'm a huge soccer fan. Let's get to work on buying or selling your next home. Smiley face. So all of those things give me a little idea of who you are. Again, the sentence structure that you use, if you use emojis, if you use those weird ellipses that people sometimes do where it seems like they're trailing off and you're like, should I be scared about this? Or is it just the way you type? All of that feeds into who you are and how I experience you. And those things are more important and more obvious than you might think. At my old job, we had a Twitter account of 170,000 followers, and I was the main person running it, posting content. But there were 2 other people who had access to it. And after we had moved home, back from LA, I was talking to my sister about it, and offhand, she was just like, "Oh, I could always tell when it was you tweeting from SourceTag because of the words you used." And at the time, Twitter was 140 characters, 2 sentences max, but she could still tell when it was me versus somebody else. And that just goes to show that the sentence structure, how you phrase things, like I said, the phrases that you use. My family makes fun of me all the time because apparently I say "in a perfect world" a little too much. I know I've already used it once today, but that's just, it's one of my things. I say "in a perfect world," blah, 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 blah. So we all have those things, and that makes us who we are. And the more we are able to kind of conversationally share those things, the more people will feel like they know you. So I'll give an example again here of my story section, which again is a little bit longer. The 2 tips I try to give that I actually took away from Gen Blue a couple of years ago, which is the National Coldwell Banker Conference, was when you're writing your bio, firstly, write like you're writing about somebody else. So if you were to say, "Tell me about yourself," I'd probably say like, "Well, I have a degree." I don't know why we always go to a resume when people say, "Tell me about yourself," but you're like, "Well, I've been working in digital marketing for about 2 or 3 years. I lived out in Los Angeles before that, blah, blah, blah." And then someone says, "Tell me about your wife." I go, "Oh, she's great. She's really sweet. She's kind of quiet, but she gets, like all of a sudden you're talking about that person differently than you would talk about yourself." So when you're writing your bio, you want to try to talk about yourself, which can be difficult, but you want to try to talk about yourself like you would somebody else, with those positive descriptors, with those emotional appeals versus just bullet point resume. One of the best ways to do that is to ask somebody else. Ask a spouse or a family member or a friend, "Hey, I'm trying to write a bio. What 2 or 3 things about me would you say kind of are important or are qualities that people would be attracted to in a realtor?" Additionally, and this is easier or harder, but write like you're writing a novel. And I don't mean go like full Hemingway or anything, but be descriptive. Talk about yourself in a way that people are going to be interested. Because again, if you keep it just dry, I care about you as a person and I will make sure to help you buy a home. It's like, again, it's your job. I hope that you would help me buy a home. So again, this is not a perfect example, but this is just an example of a story section bio on here. So I want to pay attention to the title already. J.D. Wolfengo, Real Estate's #1 soccer and dog lover. Already that tells you a bit about me. The fact that I would put that as my title shows that I'm a little bit more, I don't want to say less serious, but I'm okay. Like that's how I'm branding myself. And it also shows you too my interests. One of the things we don't realize about interests is how powerful those are. So you had an agent here for a while who was a former U of M starter and NFL player for the Ravens, I think Baltimore Ravens. And he ran a couple Facebook ads that said, it was a picture of him and his U of M gear on, in the middle of play, and then him in a polo with this Coldwell Banker thing, and it said something like, "Former U of M football player, now local realtor, let me help tackle your real estate needs," right? It was silly little pun. He got legitimate leads from that in like 2 weeks, because if sports for us, like people in general, if you're a sports person, you care very passionately about people kicking a ball around or throwing a ball around, which doesn't make any sense. But you care a lot. And if Jeanette knows this and she can vouch for this. If I am down the street and I hear someone talking about soccer, I want to turn and go talk to that person. Or especially dogs, if I see someone with a dog, you want to go pet that dog. So these things are things that people care about, but they also help make a connection. When you read down here that I have 3 dogs that we've rescued at some point or another, you're either going to think we're crazy. Well, you probably will all think we're crazy, but you'll also go, if you're a dog person, you'll go, "Oh, I like dogs." That's a connection you have with that person now that might make or not necessarily break, but might make that relationship, might make that person want to work with you. Because it is things like that that do make people want to like, pick you over another person. If I'm choosing between two agents and they both seem great, and then I find out that one of them is a huge, just to keep going to the two things, is a huge soccer fan, I'm probably gonna work with that person just because there's that common connection there. So, hi there, thanks for visiting my page. My name is JD Walgrove. I'm a licensed realtor with Coldwell Banker with the Schmidt in Howland, Michigan. Again, got the legality out of the way. I've been in real estate for 2 years now, and although it's my career, people are my passion. That's why real estate is such an awesome career and why I love going to work every day. I get to work with you people. I get to listen to you and help sell your home, and I get to work with you to help you buy that dream home. Make no mistake, I work for you and I'm here to make your dreams come true. Then again, that's what they all say. So again, even playing off of that idea. As your realtor, I'm gonna make your dreams come true. Great. A bit about me, as the title says, I love soccer, I love dogs. I've tried combining the two and making them play soccer, but no luck yet. Currently have 3 dogs, Gus, Ramona, and Rooney. I'm a huge Manchester United supporter, but if you're a Liverpool fan, I'll still work with you probably. I'm married to a fantastic woman named Jeanette. She also works for Schmidt companies. We love what we do, and we love who we do it with. I hope to hear from you soon. Have a fantastic day. My hope is that after reading those 3 relatively short paragraphs, you feel like you know me a little bit. You feel like he goes, yeah, he's got a bit of a sense of humor, or yeah, these are the things that are really important to him. Now, it is a very easy thing I preface this by saying the next sentence that I say is not me saying I am funny or I think I'm funny, but I have a tendency to gravitate toward trying to be funny when it comes to stuff like this. Especially with video, I talk about that a lot later because I say, being funny in a video is a way to sort of kind of break the walls out a little bit. But a lot of people say, well, I don't think I'm funny or I'm not funny. That is not the only option. The idea is just to be authentic. If you're a very serious but caring person, that can shine through too. If you're a very eccentric person or very bubbly, that can come through in your paragraphs in your video. It doesn't matter what the quality is, the qualities just need to come through. So write a bio, maybe have somebody else that you know well write the bio for you, or take a couple passes at it, or show it to them and say, hey, what's missing here? Because ultimately, if you're sending people to your website, to your Facebook page, you're sending them to get to know who you are. And you want to make sure that they can make that connection. So like I said, I've seen a lot of bad bios and I've seen a lot of really cool bios. And it really does make the difference on that first impression of what I think about, how I feel about this person. So all that to say, once you have all of this done, you've got your profile picture there, you've got your cover photo, you've got your information there, you've got your contact info. Technically speaking, at this point, your page is complete. Your page is created. You can start using it. The next part is the hard part, which is using it, right? Posting from it, getting people there. Any questions on the creation before we start to segue into best practices? Yes, sir.
Well, kind of. Is there a legality to liking people's photos through this account? Or is that like considered spam?
If you're liking a photo as a business page?
Yeah.
So no, it is not. There's nothing wrong with doing it. I would just say it is often. I'm pretty sure, and do not quote me on this. I'm pretty sure you can't like somebody's personal page as a business page. I like if I'm scrolling on Facebook. Let me just see if I can get it up. If I'm scrolling on my newsfeed, I don't think I can like somebody's personal page as.
Could you like their post? Like, could you like that? And likes it.
So right here, yeah, you can see right here. I can only like it as me, as JD.
You can't like.
You can't like someone's personal post as a business post, as a business page. But this is like a musician, right? From here, I'm pretty sure there are certain ways, on certain business pages, you can comment. Yeah, you see, actually, perfect. Oh yeah, that's an event, that's why. But if you notice right here, it allows me to switch from being just me to one of my business pages.
Yeah.
And now if I go like this, and now I like it, it'll say, Coldwell Banker, Sunstar Realty likes Veronica Baby's post. So I liked it as a business page, which I think I'm just gonna leave that there for fun. But if it's a personal page, it literally, like if I were to like this, it would just show up as JD. Hopefully it shouldn't appear. So yeah, there's not a legality against it, you're just not able to.
Okay.
You liked the bare naked page.
No, I just like the post. I just like the post. JD likes the page. The post was just like by Kobo Baker Sunstar. Hey, maybe that's branding. Maybe there's gonna be some Brandon Mays fans who are like, hey, I need a real job. So yeah, that would yeah, there's nothing against it. It's just not possible. So from here, we're going to talk about best practices in content. Now, one of the things that I mentioned this a little bit earlier that I get a lot is when people come to me and they say, well, my page isn't growing. My page isn't getting anything. And I say, well, what have you done to grow your page? They go, well, not much. And I say, okay, well, why would your page grow? Like, if you're not doing anything to make it happen, why would it happen? So when I talk about Dave Remersma, who has over 1,000 likes in 2 years on Facebook, how did he get there? Well, he invited all of his friends, but every time he gets a new client, that's where he sends them. Every time he gets a new lead, he has them check out his Facebook page. His Facebook page is on all of his marketing materials. They're on his flyers he prints out, his business cards, everything. So he's at an open house, he sends people there. He does ads from it so people get drawn in. You know, like, you have to use it in order for it to work well. Some people I see their page grows from 60 to 67 in 6 months. Some people you see it go from 600 to 730. It just depends on how much you use it and how actively engaged you are with your audience. So my point is purely, you can't expect your page to grow if you don't use it. I had one agent, I think this was last year, invite me to like her business page that she had not posted on since 2013. It was blank, besides the post from 2013. So I kind of went over to her, because she was in this office, and I was just like, hey, why are you inviting people to your page? You know, she's like, well, I want them to like it. And I was like, and then we had to have that conversation. You asked me to like your page, I click on it. Why should I like this? You haven't posted in 6 years, 7 years. Why should I like it? What is there to like about this? You know, not like rudely, but there's no value for me here. So when I go to your page, I want to make sure that I want to see you posting. I want to see new content, stuff going on. So the first thing you'll want to do when you are ready to launch your page is you want to invite people to it. People need to, be on your page. So I've had people get really worried about this part because they go, well, I want to have content on my page before I invite people. But I've had some people literally post every day for 2 weeks before they start inviting all of their friends. So that there's stuff there, which I understand the idea of, but you just spent time posting to nobody for 2 weeks. So by the time you're ready to post, maybe have what my 2 cents would be: invite everybody that you need to invite, and then start posting every once in a while, like right away. You invite everybody at noon, and then at 3 or 4 o'clock you post your first post. But once you start inviting people, it's time to go. It's time to use this regularly, because that is going to be one of the highest moments of traction you have with your page when you invite everybody right off the bat. In order to invite your friends, you can invite anybody on Facebook that you are personally friends with to like your business page. If you are connected with them, you can invite them. You can give them a little notification in the corner. You cannot invite people you are not friends with on Facebook. So they can still like your page, because technically a business page is public and anybody can like it, but you can't, if Jeanette and I were not friends on Facebook, I could not make a notification go to her account that said JD invited you to like this page. Now, we've had some people come over from other industries where they have a huge database of clients, but they're not friends with them on Facebook. Great, send them a mass email. Say, hey, just so you know, I'm now a realtor with Coldwell Banker. If you'd like to click below to follow my business page, I would, really appreciate it. And if you, are thinking about buying or selling, give me a call. You're still marketing your page and inviting people, but you're not doing it through the little, like my page button. So all you got to do is, when you're on your page, scroll down a little bit to where it says community. And right here on the right-hand side, there's a button that says invite friends. And you literally, nowadays, and they've only recently brought this option back, you can select all, and you can invite all of your Facebook friends to like your page. You can write a little message about it. It says, hey, I'm starting a new venture in real estate, blah, blah, blah. But then if you send that invite out, everybody will get a notification up here that says JD Waldwell invited you to like his new business page. I don't know if I have any recent, probably don't. I have one fairly recently. Yeah, someone invited me to like a CBD page, and I was like, nope, it says you declined. So you can, that's what it'll look like though, it'll come as a notification there. The other thing that you can do, and this, to me, this is not an either or, this is a both. Go to the page like we are right here, click share, right up here along this top bar, And what this will do, you see where it says, this is gonna be an important keyword. Whenever it says your timeline, it is talking about your personal page. If you ever see something that says share to your timeline, it's talking about your personal JD page. So write a little post. Again, say something. Hey, I'm starting a new, I've joined Cool Baker as a realtor, really excited, and hope you'll like my page and blah, blah, blah. This will show up on people's news feed as they're scrolling. The other one will show up as a notification in their corner. I have seen agents who have 95 notifications dating back to 2012. I've seen people who don't scroll that much on their news feed. It is, to me, this is not an either or, but a both. Invite all of your friends to that invite button, and then make a post about it on your business page too. By doing both, you're going to cover both bases, essentially. So you start inviting people, now we're gonna talk about posting. What do you post? How often do you post? How do you post? Et cetera, et cetera. So I think let's go back to this guy. Oh, we do have time to talk about video today. Ha ha ha. So it's all about you. This is kind of what it comes down to for me. Your page, beautiful. Your page should show me why I should work with you. Again, what value are you going to provide me, and what do I get out of this relationship? But also, like I said with the bio, who are you, right? So who you are, I want to work with you. Mix up the content you post. Links, shares, photos, videos. If you go too far in any of those directions, video included, the page looks monotonous. So I've had some people take very seriously posting links and articles, and that's all they do. And then you go on their business page and you scroll, and it's just article, and that gets really boring after a while. But it's the same if you do video, people will get burnt out. But maybe on Monday you post your new listing, or just a listing that you're maybe posting an open house for. Tuesday you post a cool article that you found on the internet somewhere. Wednesday is your weekly video series. Thursday you post a photo of you and your clients, or you at a company event. Friday you post the listing one more time to remind people about your open house. And then Saturday you post a video of you at the open house. So in those 6 days, we've already done links, photos, and videos, and varied the content that we're sharing. So this is a really key point to me. Make it personal, but keep it professional. The keep it professional part basically means don't swear, don't post politics, and probably don't post religion. Although that's a little bit, in West Michigan, it's a little bit more in the line. I don't feel like I have to say this, but I know for a fact that I do. Don't post political content to your business page. Just don't do it. I have seen it burn out business pages before, not real estate pages, a restaurant though, and ended up, I don't think they went out of business, but they got close. Just don't do it. I mean, and here's the thing too, and I'll say this, I feel very strongly about this. On your personal page, you can post whatever you want, you can say whatever you want, that is your choice, that is your profile. The only thing I'd say is you can't be surprised that there are consequences. Meaning, if you post something very political, that is, I really genuinely support you doing that, but if someone sees that and goes, oh, I'm not gonna work with that person now, you can't be surprised about that. Because it is, especially politics, it is a fiery topic. So post whatever you want, but realize that there can sometimes be consequences for what you post. But I don't like this idea, some people like to have all of their clients on their personal page as well, and I've seen that work really well. Some people keep it closed down to 200 people, only their friends and family that they know well, because they do post a lot of that stuff. And they want to be able to, but they want to protect, other people. They don't want to ruin their, I hate to say ruin your reputation, but have those fall out. So keep it professional. Don't swear. Don't spell the word you with just the letter. Don't IDK, stuff like that. But make it personal. Like I said, if you're sharing an article, first of all, you need to be telling me why you're sharing, what's the value here, but make it conversational. So, I'll go over this in a minute, but Coldwell Banker has a blog. It's literally blog.coldwellbanker.com. That is a great starting point to pull content from. You can pull, they've got pet-related stuff, house-related stuff, market-related stuff, all over the place. And one article that I always kind of use as an example is 4 ways to keep pets stress-free during a move. The one that I'm thinking of is 4 things to do when moving pets long distances. And as somebody who, when we adopted our first dog out in Los Angeles, some of those things were things that we did not do. One of them was tell your vet that you're moving. We did not do that. We should have done that. Additionally, find a vet in town before you meet that vet. Because now all of a sudden you're straight, right? So like, they were interesting tips. So when I post that article to my business page, I could just say, interesting, or cool, or great post, right? Or I could say, wish we would have known a few of these before we had moved across the country, moved from LA to Michigan, pretty useful. Because now all of a sudden I'm telling you why I find this interesting and what value it would have for you. So when you're sharing something, tell me why I should care about this. There's one agent up in Traverse City who does a really cool thing where, and this is not everybody's cup of tea, but every time he does a closing, and he's a top producer, every time he does a closing, he writes a little 2 or 3 paragraph, I guess you could call it story about those clients. And says, you know, a picture with them at the closing table. It was great working with JD and Jeanette. It was so cool meeting them at, you know, the soccer tournament that weekend. And so many homes we looked at, it was so competitive with all the offers, but we found the one and I can't wait to see what you guys are gonna do with it. Congrats on your home, and I can't wait to see what's next for you guys. That is so much more personal than, you know, sold, another listing done, right? Like it's connecting to people, it's telling people a little bit about who you are and stuff like that. So I don't want to go to your page, and like I said, there was one service that I saw an agent use who this service posted an article every day at the same time, and the text just said new blog post. So you go on that page and you scroll, and it was just new blog post, new blog post, new blog post. It's pretty robotic.
You've mentioned Dave a couple times.
Yeah.
I just pended one of his properties and he posted a picture of a house and it was cuter than that. And it said, if you're pending in, you know what, clap your hands.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was, I mean, my buyer loved it and I just thought how creative.
Right, yeah, that's the thing is like, some people, and I'll say this too, everybody's posting style or comedy style or whatever, it's not, some people are gonna look at that and go, I've dealt with this a lot with a lot of, I don't even wanna say newer agents, but agents who've been doing Facebook really well. Other agents will look at that and go, well, that's ridiculous, that's not professional or whatever. He's like, well, they just got 4 listings from that. So maybe that's not your cup of tea, but that also doesn't mean that you are everybody else's cup of tea. So my kind of 2 cents is like, as long as you're staying within like, you know, legalities and fair housing, you're doing everything like up to compliance, try something new. Do something that you haven't seen other people do before. The biggest thing that I hate is when an agent says, oh, I have a really cool idea for a video or for a post. And I go, oh, cool. There's one agent in particular, and I could use it because he's in Ohio. I was there 2 years ago, and I was like, people were talking about, oh, I have this really cool idea for a video. He used to be a stand-up comedian. I don't know if he was good, but he used to be a stand-up comedian. And he was like, I want to do a video where it's like, hey, it's me, Benny, you know, a realtor with a local banker, and I wanted to tell you about how I can help you, but instead of having me talk about it, I want to share some video testimonials from some of my past clients. And then the rest of the video is just him in different outfits talking about how great he was. Like one dressed up as a pirate saying, you know, Benny was the best realtor we ever had. And the next one was like him with like a long blonde wig on saying, Benny was just the best, you know, like, and I'm like, dude, that's a really funny idea. You should do that. He's like, yeah, I should. 12 months later, I'm back in Ohio talking with him. I was like, did you do that video? He goes, no, I didn't do it yet. I'm like, why not? He goes, I just never got around to it. And I'm like, well, dude, that's it. Like, that's as far as an idea is ever going to get then. If you don't act on that thing. So my point is this, if you have an idea, find the people, the marketing team, people that you know that will help make that happen. Because otherwise, you're never going to know if it works or not. So, what to post? I kind of have it divided into 4 different categories, but they are all very vague categories that swim with each other. The main point, though, like I said, is be the digital mayor. Give your audience value. We have a realtor in the building next door who knows everything there is to know about Holland. She joked when she had a client. She had a client come to her and ask, "What's the best tattoo parlor in Holland?" Now, this agent does not have a tattoo on her body and never would, but she knew the top 3 places to recommend right off the bat because she knows the area better than, you know, I wouldn't say better than Google, but you get that personal touch. You want to know what their opinion of something is. And that's the thing, people care about your opinion. You're a professional realtor, you're a real estate agent. People are working with you for a reason. So when I say do a video and you're like, well, why should I do a video? Why should they care? Well, then why should they care about your services in the first place if that's your attitude about it? Anyway, soapbox off. So, off the soapbox. Business posts. Business posts are anything that have to do with real estate. New listings, open houses, solds, even like office events, things that are going on around town. This should not be the only thing that you post because again, If there's only 3% of the population that is in the real estate market at any given time, and I just sold my property with you, but all you post is listings, what value does that page have for me anymore? I'm not gonna sell for the next 7 to 9 years on average. So why would I keep looking at listings all the time? But if you're starting to sprinkle in other things about, like I said, the second section here is lifestyle, DIY articles, helpful, interesting content, lots of things about how to renovate a bathroom on a budget, 3 new tile trends for 2020, home and lifestyle related stuff, you're still providing value to me with information. And that is how, I always tell people, you never know what's gonna change in somebody's life, where on Tuesday they don't need a realtor and on Wednesday they desperately need a realtor. Whether it is a job loss, a family issue, a pregnancy, all of a sudden things can change like that. And if Friday, like I said, Thursday night I don't need a realtor, Friday night I do, and I'm scrolling and I see your post on Facebook, maybe it's for a family friend, maybe it's for me, but those little things, posting consistently makes a huge difference. So, so lifestyle is anything that is basically related to home, related to, lifestyle. This is where I like to tell people, find your interests and explore that a little bit, because it's only gonna be boring if you just post stuff just for the sake of posting it. But we had one agent from Grand Haven, he floated between Hull and Grand Haven, who was a huge runner. He ran marathons all the time, did stuff like that. So he started a series on his page where he once a week highlighted one of West Michigan's running trails. Sometimes it was a video, sometimes it was just a link or a photo. But that was his thing. He did Wednesday running day. Today we're talking about Luton Park in Grand Rapids. It's that's value he provided. He did not all of a sudden make his real estate page a running blog, but he was providing content about the area that was interesting. So local community events, that is a good segue. Anything that's happening in your community, right? New businesses opening, carnivals or festivals going on in the summer or in the fall. I say city photos, which sounds weird, but one thing, if you don't know, Holland actually has heated sidewalks downtown. And there was this really cool photo this past winter that the city of Holland posted, where it was downtown completely covered and then just clean sidewalks. And it was a really cool nighttime shot too. And that was just a cool photo to share of the community. So anything that's going on around downtown, and like I said, these categories intersect. So if your office, Holland is doing an Adopt a Pet event in the end of September, that's a business company post, that's also a local community post, because it's something for our company that we're doing in our community. And then last but probably most importantly, personal. What I mean by personal is anything that has you in it. Photos, videos, etc. This is probably the most important, because unless you're doing direct lead gen on Facebook, most of the marketing you're doing on Facebook is just branding, staying top of mind, staying within did Jack talk about your sphere of influence a lot yesterday? Yeah, it's sphere of marketing. It's staying in front of people. And the best way to stay in front of people is with your face. So one of the things you said Dave did was post a photo of the home and say if you're pending, and and like I said, the other guy, Wes, that I was talking about, he does a photo with his clients at every closing. And this is a true story. I've seen this happen quite a few times, where you as an agent post a photo with your clients and say, congrats to JD and Jeanette for selling their home or for buying their first home. Can't wait to see what you guys do to the place. Then they share that post on their personal page and say, we're homeowners now. And I've seen a specific example where that happened, and then it was the wife who posted it on her personal page, and then 2 of her friends in the comments started saying, we just started talking about selling last night. How was it working with did you have a good realtor? And they were like, oh my gosh, he was great. He was whatever, let me give you his number. So all because this agent, and I don't say this is gonna happen every time, but all he did was post a photo congratulating his clients on buying their first home. They shared it to their personal page. Their friends got interested, and then he got 2 referrals within 24 hours, all because he posted a photo. That kind of stuff, again, doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. Another example I want to show of really cool personal stuff is an agent from our Big Rapids office, Chris Jane. Chris is, if you want some homework besides set up your own page, check out Chris Jane Sells Houses on Facebook, because he does some great videos for his listings.
How do you spell the last name?
Jane, Jane, Sells Houses.
Oh, salsa.
Yeah. So one of Chris's things is that he does a video for every single listing he gets. No matter if it is a $20,000 lot or a $400,000, or I know recently a $600,000 property. Every listing gets a video. Now, one of the pushbacks I used to get was, well, he's probably a newer agent, he has a lot of time, because he taught himself how to edit, he uses the same editing software I do, he's better than I am at this point because of all the cool stuff he can do. Well, he's probably a new agent. He is a 14 to 15, depending on the year, 14 to $15 million producer in an area where the average home price is $100,000. He is a full-time pastor and has 3 kids. So it's not that he has all the spare time to play around, but he's seen the value of committing time and money and resources to this and what comes out of it. And one of the examples he told me is that one of the things, and Chris is just a great agent outside of the video part. One of the things he does is, I think 2 or 3 days a week, he always eats lunch downtown Big Rapids at a local restaurant, just to be in the area, just to show face and be around. And he told me one time he was walking back to his car, and a guy in a DTE energy van pulled over and was like, Chris, I recognize you from your Facebook videos. Do you have a card? Because my wife and I have been thinking about selling. And I was like, dude, people are literally pulling over off the streets to talk to you because of the videos you're doing. So I want to share a couple things about his videos, because what I love about his videos is that, and I don't mean this negatively, they're not high quality production. It's normally him with a selfie stick, or depending on the property, some drone footage. But he is in every video. The video is short, and the property is in every video. So again, and if you look at some of the ones that he's boosted here, 6.3, 6.6 thousand, 9.9, 12,000 views, 9.4 thousand views, 10,000. He gets a value out of these. So I'm gonna just click on one and hope that it's good. But I'm assuming it will be to a degree.
Hey, what's up, guys? I've got one of the nicest homes in Big Rapids to show you today. Stick around, this thing's like brand new. You're gonna love it. Okay, gang, welcome to Brookside Court. This home is only 2 years old. It sits in one of the best locations.
So you can see that's obviously drone footage, but watch the next few clips here.
It's close to the best schools. It's close to downtown. You're gonna love this location. Let me take you inside the house. This one has
This is a video of the selfie.
4 full bathrooms. It has a full basement, and you'll love it.
Let's see if I can find one of the ones. Might have been last year now that I like this one, that he made this one. But he does, I don't know that one. He comes up with different things for, is this a good one? I don't know.
Hey, what's up, guys? Fall's in the air. It's getting a little cool out, but that doesn't mean I don't have a hot new property to show you. Stick around.
That little intro he paid $10 for online for someone to create 3 years ago, and now he uses it with every video he does. So one of the things that I love about Chris's videos is, like I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but the more you do video, the better ideas you're going to have when it comes to new videos. So I always say, like, I'm not a painter, and you cannot expect me to just go paint like a beautiful, I don't know, bowl of oranges on a table, all this stuff. I would have to start with a stick person, and then as I get better at painting and drawing, my scope would widen as to what I can do. It's the same with video. I don't expect you to watch one video and then go, right, I have all these really cool ideas now. But the more you work in video, the more videos you create, the more you start to go, while you're shooting, you'll be like, oh, that's a really cool idea for next time. Let's do that in the next video, right? So why I love his videos is, like I said, he's in all of them, but only for a few seconds in the beginning. And then it's short and sweet, you see the whole listing, and they're creative. I mean, again, that was literally him on a boat. I don't even know if he was using a selfie stick or if he was just holding his phone. So, was there a question there? Did I forget?
So he uses you said he uses the same editor.
Yeah, he uses Adobe Premiere is the name of the software, and Premiere is like $20 a month. And again, it's one of those things with most extra services in life. If you use it, it's worth the money. But it's also, I've had some people pay for it and then never use it, and then they stop paying for it a year later and basically wasted, $220. But no, it's very powerful. It's a good software. But the reason, like I said, the reason I love Chris's videos is they're short, they're personable, and even after watching those, I think maybe 3 videos we just watched, you kind of get a feel for what his personality is. You know that the kind of person you're going to meet when you sit down with him. And ultimately, like I said, when we go back to this personal stuff that I was talking about, the personal posts, that is the goal of those posts. The goal is for me to understand a little bit more about who you are by the end of reading the blog, watching the video, looking at the photo, etc. Any questions about content, what to post, how often to, stuff like that? How often to? Daily. 5 days a week. Have something going on your Facebook page. One of the nice things that I will show you really quick is that Facebook has a scheduling tool. So maybe you do have more time on Monday, but you're not going to have time the next couple of days. Or maybe you're going out of town for the next couple of, you're going out of town for a few days. You can schedule posts on your business page. So if you're on your business page here, I'm going to do blog.coldwellbaker.com. So let's say I wanted to share this article, 6 tips to cut expenses. And by the way, this is for that Coldwell Baker blog. Genuinely, half of the stuff they post is great for your business page, half you shouldn't. Don't worry about it. Some of it's just more like industry specific, not consumer specific. But all you're gonna wanna do with this is you're gonna copy the link up here. You'll see right at the top, copy that. Go to your business page, and right here where it says write a post, you're just gonna paste that link right in here. And you'll see that the photo loads in, the headline loads in. All you wanna do now is delete that link from the top and write something. Like I said, why am I posting this article? What is interesting about this? And again, I'm not gonna take the whole thing out, but something like, moving expenses add up more than, quicker than you think they will, quicker than you expect them to, but here are a few ways to help, minimize those ahead of time, or something like that. So instead of clicking share now, right here, which would post it now, if I click this button where it says share now, I can schedule it for a later date. So I can click schedule, and then again, it's literally like, all right, cool, pick the date, pick the time. So I'd say I want it to go live Monday the 29th at 3 p.m. I click schedule. And then now you'll see up here, it'll say, wait for it. It'll say you have one scheduled post. So I always warn people, like, do not rely on this as the only thing that you do, because again, it starts to become a tendency of like, I've scheduled the next 3 weeks of content now, which feels great, but then you don't check your page for 3 weeks and you don't know if people are commenting or doing anything. So be active with it. But it does help. I'm going out of town for the next 3 or 4 days, or I know on Tuesday I'm going to be super busy. I'm going to schedule some article or some photo for that day. So posting 5 days a week is really very important because it helps people see you more, but it also helps you stay basically in compliance with Facebook's algorithm, because they want pages that post a lot to be seen. If you only post once a month and I post 30 times a month, why would Facebook share your post over mine? I'm bringing more clicks to their website. I am keeping people on their site longer. You're doing it literally at 30th as much as I am. Does that make sense? Yes.
Does that change the algorithms then? Because we usually tend to see posts from the same people on Facebook.
Yeah, so where that starts to come into play is basically, it's kind of why I said when you invite people the very first time, that's when you have a great window of opportunity to build engagement, because there is a bit of a self-fulfilling cycle of, if I like your posts a lot, like them consistently, then your content will show up in my feed store, because Facebook says, JD likes to interact with her posts. And so as that happens, it shows up more. The other time that has that opportunity is when you like a page for the very first time. If you invite me to like your page and I like it, I'm gonna see your content pretty consistently for the first few, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. But if I don't interact with any of those posts, then it's gonna start to die down. So when you start inviting people, that's why that content needs to be consistent and engaging, because if it's consistent, I will see it, and if I like it and engage with it, I'll see more of it, and then we'll just kind of go like that. Any other questions?
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
On my business page.
Sure.
When you change or you add your profile picture or your cover photo,
Mhm.
how it shows it down in the newsfeed part. How come you can't delete that in the business part? It's kind of, I want to like clean up the old stuff, but I can't. It's not an option to delete it.
We'll have to take a look at that, because you have to go into the photos to delete the photo probably.
Okay.
Do you mean where it has like a little photos section right here?
Well, like,
Or like on
like
your
right where your
timeline.
Cleveland is and on those posts, so like if you edit your picture, how it puts that you've edited, it puts a post there that you've edited that picture.
Oh, a post
Yeah.
that says so-and-so has updated their profile picture.
Yeah, and
So-
get rid of that kind of junk.
So like something like this where it says JD has updated their
Yeah.
website. What you want to do then, where these three dots are.
Yeah.
You're right, you can, well, the three dots
You just-
will give you two options. Depending on the post, you can delete it from the page, delete the post.
Okay,
Which
so I
way,
just get the top options, I just get to edit the post, change the, embedded or something else, I don't get the bottom part.
even hide from timeline doesn't come up?
No.
Well, let's take a look at that then, because
Cause I've got like, every time I change
Right.
everything and I want to
Yeah,
just clean
yeah.
that up.
well, and ultimately here, and this is not directly what you're saying, but it reminded me of something. I've encountered some agents who have the mindset of that once my listing sells, I'm going to delete it from my Facebook page, which is kind of like cleaning up old posts. You don't want to do that because then I go to your page, and I think it comes down to that issue comes down to just kind of a bit of a misunderstanding of how Facebook works. If I posted a link in February, nobody in July is going to see that unless they specifically go to my page and scroll and scroll and scroll. But some people are like, well, they might see my listing and think it's still active. And it's kind of this thing of like, I guarantee you that they don't see that listing and they do not think it's active. That's just not how the platform works. So to a degree, if you start posting pretty consistently, that stuff will just get buried and it won't show up anymore. But regardless, it should still give you those options. So we'll take a look at that and see if we can figure it out. That in and of itself is a lot of information for 2 hours, let alone the entire program that you are in for the next 2 weeks. So the sort of homework that I would assign if I was in a position to do that would be create a business page. Start trying to fill out the forms. Once we're gonna take headshots in a minute. If you don't have one, I'm gonna send them to Jody. She'll get them to you pretty quickly. Start working on the page. The other two things I would say are take a look at some of the agents in your office. Take a look at Chris's profile. I don't think that there is a shining example of one agent in the world who does everything perfectly on social media, but there are some that do things really, really well, and so seek those out. Like I said, Chris does amazing video. He does a really, really good job of doing videos, so look at those. And then also, this does not need to be all at once, but over the course of the next week or two, watch Gary Vaynerchuk's keynote that I talked about. If you're on Schmidt Resources, and you go to that, I don't know why I'm brought up for tagging him, and you go to that video and social media tab, you'll notice square number 3 is Facebook